From Walk-Ons in Brusly, welcome to the Monday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Handegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio on our Monday schedule, which includes the Brian Kelly press conference midway through the show. About 11:40, we'll send it out to uh, Gordy Rush and Chris Blair, and then at noon, Brian Kelly will address the media, and then we'll come back to finish up the show until 1 o'clock. Hope you had a great weekend. There was more than enough football to say grace over. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You enjoyed the football weekend? Man,
of course.
That was whew.
It's it's fun, man. Everybody's excited. It's a full. We're in a college market here. We know that. That's what gets our juices going a little bit, the blood flowing a little bit better. But an NFL fun. It's formatted, and we get on the NFL for a lot of things. But man, it's pretty good yesterday.
It was really good.
And we had sort of the first round of March Madness. Didn't know where these lopsided matchups where they were going to fall, but there were a few. And then some. It's hard to give too much credit to a team just routing such inferior rosters like Oregon and Oklahoma State. And I'm sorry, but that's Oklahoma State is a mid-MAC program right now. I mean, I'm sorry.
The roster. Mid-MAC roster. Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's a roster. But they're a way better bully than Penn State right now. Penn State going to the playoff is they don't look good, man.
They got one more week of preseason, then it gets real for them. They get another layup this week, and then Oregon's coming to town.
And good for the Penn State fans staying home. I've never seen that stadium so had that. It's not empty because the lower bowl is full, but like the uppers.
Yeah.
Big gaps of seats just completely empty. We're tired. No, Nevada and FIU back to back. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
We're
gonna sit this one out.
Yeah, Villanova's coming in for basketball this week. Kidding, they're coming in for football.
It's Villanova this week.
It's Villanova,
and
yeah.
I hope there's a few more empty seats. They'll be
probably
wide out on NBC for prime time for Oregon, but
we'll see how they come out. LSU wins their home opener 23-7 against Louisiana Tech. It was another exceptional defensive performance for LSU, holding Louisiana Tech to just a little over 150 yards and one late score. It was a very uneven, choppy, inconsistent, at times lethargic offensive performance for LSU in the game, which was what most of the post game was about, and what Brian Kelly led off the post game talking about, which was he blasted himself and his coaching staff more than he did the players. LSU's rushing attack right now is at very best, it is an unorthodox rushing attack that is more dependent on what I would call a non-traditional run game than it is, or more success with the non-traditional run game with guys like Xavier Thomas than it is with the traditional running game, which struggled in the game on Saturday. LSU had 128 yards of rushing, but 106 of those came on 3 carries, and one of those was from Xavier Thomas, and another one was from Barry and Brown. Whether that's sustainable, which I don't think it is. I'm all for creativity, but they've got to get the traditional run game going a little bit. So there were some things in the game. The rush game was obviously a source of concern for Kelly in the post game, whether that's on Joe Sloan or Brad Davis for the offensive line. We'll hear more from him today. Louisiana Tech did a good job of making sure LSU had to work for everything they got. Start with good special teams with 4 punts that ended up inside the 20-yard line. That meant that LSU had the ball for a lot of time where they had to chew up a lot of field. Touchdown drive was 98 yards in 11 plays. They had a 13-play field goal drive. They had a 9-play drive where they had to punt, an 11-play drive where they kicked a field goal, and another 7-play drive that started their 9-yard line. So they had the ball a lot, but they were rarely in advantageous field position. Garrett Nussmeier was off, like a pitcher struggling with his command. His early underthrow for Barry and Brown kind of set the stage for a lot of the rest of the day because Brown would have scored easily had Nussmeier put a little air under the ball, which wasn't even all that deep a throw, as Rohan pointed out yesterday on Football Sunday. But it was more than just that. He was inaccurate at times. Um, Louisiana Tech, like Clemson before that, was going to play deep enough that it was going to be very difficult to throw the ball over their heads. And so they struggled a little bit, again, with his accuracy in the intermediate zone throws he usually makes. LSU missed some scoring opportunities. An 8-play drive resulted in a missed field goal. First and 10 at the Louisiana Tech 15 resulted in a field goal. First and goal at the 3 resulted in a field goal. And, you know, the defense was terrific to give the one scoring drive. And finally, the what I would call I guess the emotional part or the off the field part of this. LSU spent 9 months talking about winning the first game, and the first game was against Clemson, and it was on the road, and it was against a top 5 team. And look, they answered the call. They won the game, and in a difficult place to play. We're going to get to Clemson a little bit later. But when you do that, there's a natural letdown, even with it being the home opener, and the focus could have been better on Saturday. All that said, they won the game by 16 points. They move on to Florida, who's got problems of their own. And Jimmy, if you know they pick back up and beat Florida and look good doing it, we'll be able to put this one in the rearview mirror pretty quick. But 2 big injuries. One to Braylon Moore, that's going to keep him out. Well, they're saying questionable for this week, but a high ankle sprain. I'm going to say multiple games. And the same thing with Trey'Dez Green, who sustained a knee injury. The good news is that neither one of them is out for the year, which when you saw them happen, you're like, uh-oh. But neither one of them's out for the year. We'll see how long they are on the bench.
Well, it looks like MCL sprain for
Yeah.
Trey'Dez.
We'll get more from Kelly today, but yeah, that's
And it happened on a block when he's blocking.
yes.
Is he ever going
In
to
the
block?
fourth quarter.
Is he ever going to block again? I mean, he's trying to. He's a basketball player.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, he's got so basketball players don't really like a whole lot of contact. They play basketball because they don't want to play football. A lot of them. All right, but some of these tight end type of guys or just big body guys, whether Antonio Gates with his basketball history and some others as well, Jimmy Graham. He's kind of got. He's in that same area code as far as his build with his hands, which are exceptional. But he's dealing with leverage issues because of his build to begin with, and he's just never been a physical player. And I'm being kind by just saying that. I wonder about that. But MCL sprain, maybe 2 to 4 weeks. Maybe he can rush it back. I doubt it, but sometimes. But usually when that happens, they do the flexibility test, see if that ACL is intact. They thought it was. The MRI confirmed that. And I don't have the official diagnosis, but 9 times out of 10, let's say the MCL sprain is the chalk. Okay. But so he will be out maybe 2 to 4 weeks, maybe a couple weeks, whatever.
My best guess is South Carolina.
It's not just a letdown game; it's a sandwich spot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on both sides. So you want to know. I mean, can we win the first game of the year? It's we're underdog. We're on the road against a top 5 team. The whole deal. Okay, and then you can't have a revenge game next week with Florida coming to town. They didn't know that Florida was going to lose to South Florida, okay? And that's why I don't think it's going to be an issue getting a team up for a team that lost to South Florida because they beat you last year, and that was a big loss. I'm fine with experimentation during this matchup. With this week. So if you're going to try the gadget running game to try and offset some of Durham's carry, they also, Harlan Berry got more looks as well. So you work on your weaknesses.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Durham in this matchup. Durham 13 carries. That's obviously going to go up in your typical game. He'll carry the ball more against Florida. But let's see if something else sticks a little bit. And lukewarm, maybe minus Berry. So Berry, you could maybe get 5, 6, 8 carries a game. Fine with that. You know, he's still a
Absolutely.
true freshman, still working in, but you know,
Ramping him up a little bit. He
or
showed,
do you trust him enough at this stage in pass protection if he has to do that? So it's not dictate. You don't have a tendency while he's in the game.
that might be harder right now.
Okay.
That might be
All right,
harder right now.
so I mean, I'm just throwing it all out, out there. But now this is, with all that being said, in a letdown sandwich spot, they struggled a little bit more than even I anticipated.
Yeah,
And part of it is that LSU sees. I mean, LSU's opponents see Darian Brown and geez,
Chris Hilton.
Hilton. And they know those guys. They've seen Hilton on film. They now see Brown on film. They know he ran 5 kickoffs back. You can't do that without exceptional speed. They're going to make Nussmeier be patient. They're going to force him to be patient. And now this is 2 consecutive game plans for 2 different level of opponents. But that's the one consistent thing going against LSU's offense. And we know that Nussmeier can push the ball vertically. And even that, when he did have one, he missed. So it was. Yes, I'm not going to go completely crazy, but yes, still a little bit weaker performance than I anticipated.
And it's important to remember that it's on one half of the ball. I don't know that LSU's defense could be expected to play any better than they have through 8 quarters.
150 yards, no matter who you're playing. Yeah,
right. One drive at the end, one busted coverage was a big chunk of that drive. And then this is coming off a performance where they gave up 1 touchdown drive to Clemson. The field goal was set up by the turnover. So that has been really, really good, and I expect that to continue. I thought the special teams were a little bit better in this game than they were in the first game, although, again, Louisiana Tech's punter had a terrific night pinning them deep. So the defense has been very, very good, and I expect that the quarterback will have better nights. I don't expect that he will be as wild, for lack of a better term, as he was the other night. The things that they have to work on are the things that they talked about all during camp. How's the offensive line? How are you going to get that rushing attack going? I don't think Kelly was over the moon with what he saw the other night, judging from his post-game reaction. So we'll see what he says today, with a couple of days to watch the film and get straight.
But I think what's important, I mean, Clemson struggles. Does it dampen, our enthusiasm?
Absolutely. For now, yes, it does.
Or was it, they were completely down the first half and they flipped it around. The second half was a completely different game. And they were down 16-0 at the end of the third quarter, 16-3. At the end of the third quarter, they had the lead.
Yeah.
So
it has me on alert. There will be no game outside of LSU's this weekend that I'm more interested in than Clemson at Georgia Tech, which is an early game on Saturday, to see how they respond. Was it just that hangover from the LSU game in the first half against Troy? But the yardstick was even. So it was not flukish. Troy was in that game and had a very good chance going in the second half to pull a big upset and give Clemson credit for winning the game. But yes, it has my radar up a little bit.
Yeah, over here at Walk-Ons, man, it was happening over here. The NFL Sunday Ticket to catch all the games, man. It was a lot of fun, a lot of close games, a lot of unders yesterday. And so, hey, man, the home of football is right here at Walk-On. So we know that we get an extra juice, extra people coming in to watch the games, enjoy the great food. Always consistent service over here. And we've got game day shareables that are new menu items over here at Walk-Ons and Brusly. Starting lineup sampler, so it's a combination of mozzarella logs, boneless wings, and cheeseburger sliders, classic chicken nachos, homemade tortilla chips loaded with cheese, grilled chicken queso, pickled jalapenos, diced tomatoes, sour cream, and spicy ranch, the buffalo chicken nachos, crisp house-made tortilla chips loaded with cheese, grilled chicken, crunchy bacon, queso, red onions, bell peppers, ranch, and buffalo sauce, and our queso and chips. And the kickoff cocktails, a player's punch, a Walk-On's whiskey sour, and a strawberry mule. So all really good stuff, refreshing, and a little nip in the air, huh? That little cool air coming through over here on a Monday here at Walk-Ons in Brusly.
Live at Walk-Ons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch. 1950, Phil's Oyster Bar started on Government Street, and Gus Piazza took over in the 70s, and now his son Anthony has taken it to another level at the current location in South Downs. It's always been a Baton Rouge landmark. Seafood, oysters, po' boys, burgers, and more, all served up in an atmosphere full of sports nostalgia and tons of TVs to catch all the games. Seafood gumbo, crawfish cheesecake, or my favorite, the meatball quesadilla to start. Check out dinner and bar specials at philsoysterbar.com. You know we bleed purple and gold at Phil's Oyster Bar in the South Downs Shopping Center.
Take a swing around the parish to one of Breck's 5 golf courses, 2 championship courses, Santa Maria and Beaver Creek, and 3 courses for the more casual golfers, the popular 18-hole Webb Park, and 2 9-hole courses, City Park and the newly renovated J.S. Clark. Breck's courses are designed to challenge every level of golfer from beginner to pro. So come and get into the swing of things. Book your tee time online or find a course near you at golf.breck.org. That's golf.breck.org.
At Landmark Bank, we're more than just your local bank. We're your neighbors. We cheer on the hometown team, shop at the corner store, and know you by name when you walk through our doors. Hi, I'm Ashley McDaniel with Landmark Bank. Whether it's saving for college, buying your first home, or growing your small business, we're right here with you. Because when you bank local, you grow local. And we're proud to grow with you right here where you live. Landmark Bank, banking with people you know. Member FDIC.
Don't just work a job, build a career with Custom Security Systems. We've protected South Louisiana for over 48 years, and we're hiring an experienced fire system inspector now. Great pay, hands-on work, and room to grow. Apply today at CustomSecuritySystems.com.
Boudreaux's Electrical is giving back. A family in need right here in our community will get a Generac whole home standby generator installed for free this December. Do you know a deserving family who could use reliable backup power? Nominate them by submitting their story and information on BoudreauxElectrical.com.
We'll pick the winner on Thanksgiving Day and install the generator just in time for the holidays. Boudreaux's Electrical, proudly serving our community in Louisiana for over 40 years.
BoudreauxElectrical.com.
In the month of September, the Bridge Center for Hope recognizes National Alcohol and Drug Addiction Recovery and National Suicide Prevention Awareness. We want you to know that we are here 24 hours, 7 days a week, delivering hope, help, and healing. To learn more about our crisis stabilization services, please call 225-256-6604 or visit brbridge.org. And remember, we're always open and always here.
Coach Saban here, and let me tell you, every second matters. Preparation is everything, and that's why I trust Kidda Smoke Alarms.
And as North America's #1 home fire safety brand, they're built to respond over 25% faster to smoke detection. Kidda helps protect what matters the most. Find it at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. #1 claim based on total household installations as of December 2023. 29% faster average smoke detection based on internal testing of smoldering wood fires for Kidda 9th edition versus leading competitor 8th edition products.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Save no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Come visit if you dare as Breck's Highland Road Park Observatory's annual family-friendly event. The Spooky Spectrum takes place at dedication of the bizarre, freakish, and mysterious time of year. On the moonlit night of October 12th, HRPO will dive into the eerie side of astronomy, physics, and aeronautics, and hauntingly fun activities. For more information, visit breck.org/HRPO. That's BREC.org/HRPO.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show is always available on demand, 1045ESPN.com and at LouisianaSports.net. Our on-demand coverage is brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. For more information, go to SupremeRice.com. New Handycast with our film study will drop tomorrow night. We'll take a look at LSU's game against Louisiana Tech. Opening game for Kellen Moore as head coach of the Saints. Cardinals win it in the Superdome yesterday, 20-13. Cardinals had a 17-10 halftime lead, but the Saints were very competitive in this game. They ended up with more total yards than the Cardinals. They ended up with more first downs than the Cardinals. They ended up having a decent rushing game yesterday, and Spencer Rattler avoided any big mistakes. He didn't throw an interception. He was only sacked one time. The Saints were hamstrung by 13 penalties, most of which were on the offensive side of the ball, and a lot of them pre-snap. That put them in some holes, and, Kyler Murray made enough plays for Arizona to win it. Still, the Saints had an opportunity late in the ball game with a throw to the end, multiple throws to the end zone, although the one that everybody is going to remember is the one that Juwan Johnson got two hands on, but he got popped by Budda Baker, and the ball came out, and the Saints were incomplete on 4th down and 10. That one really wasn't a competitive throw, but the one on 3rd down certainly was. The Saints had an opportunity there to, you're 5 yards away from either sending the game to overtime. 18 yards away. It was 5 yards on the previous drive. 18 yards away from sending the game to overtime or even having a chance to win it. Kellen Moore in his first game, clock management issues at the end of the first half. You go down, and this is something that Sean Payton, who had his own coaching gaffes yesterday, would never have let happen. The Cardinals are playing first down and first and goal at the New Orleans 8-yard line with a little over a minute 55 to go. And they end up running 2 plays that take over a minute off of the minute and probably 15, 20 seconds off the clock before they score the touchdown. The Saints had all 3 timeouts, went to the half with them in their pocket. An opportunity there to get the ball back and maybe see if you can get some points before the half went by the wayside. Kellen Moore's explanation on the way to the locker room didn't make anybody feel any better when he said, we were trying to conserve our timeouts. It's like, okay, but by the time you got the ball back, there was 28 seconds to go in the half. You're going to have a hard time using them there. So, surprising for a guy who spent that's the kind of thing that I would expect from Dennis Allen, a guy that has spent his whole life on the defensive side of the ball, blowing clock management with the offense. I was surprised that a former quarterback and a guy who spent his entire life on the offensive side of the ball would make that kind of mistake, but he did. In his first game as a head coach. Saints were way more competitive than I might have thought. They were down 2 offensive linemen yesterday. Trevor Penning didn't play. Talisi Fuaga ended up leaving the game, and they didn't have Chase Young yesterday either. So not that Arizona is, expected to be world beaters this season, but they're not a bad team either. So the Saints dropped the opener by a touchdown.
About 500 team, Cardinals, think?
Ish, 7-10 maybe.
Oh, okay,
8-9.
Even worse. Okay,
that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe 500. I wouldn't be shocked if they went 9-8. If they won 10 games, that would be surprising to me. 500-ish, maybe a little under.
Is that where we are? Back when we come full circle. When I was a kid, moral victory. We can be competitive because that was it. No, when I was growing up, it was it was close, and satisfied with that.
Satisfied? No, but
I mean,
if you're asking me for an honest evaluation of the game, okay, we've talked enough big picture. We know
this is the first game of the week. Like I talked with Rohan, I talked with Randy McKay during the week. This is the first week, so the rosters are as healthy as they're going to be all year, and that lends itself to more competitive games, to closer games. We had a lot of close games.
Yeah, it was a great day.
A lot of close games, but it's not a drop. That's for damn sure. I think it's even a less than 50% chance that he catches it. It's tough in traffic. Extended. It was kind of his favorite receiver. As far as Rattler is concerned, not a complete disaster, but not good by any stretch. The only thing you could say is a quarterback rating, Charlie. We watched every game yesterday, and Rattler had a better quarterback rating than 5 starters yesterday. So there's 30 starting quarterbacks to this point, 2 more tonight. And in my opinion, well, I'll ask you first because I want to get – these were the 5 that he had a better passer rating. Did he perform better than these guys?
I know one of them.
Who?
That's below him. Tua.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, he was better than Tua yesterday.
Okay. Cam Ward?
Yeah, he was – Cam Ward had some drops, man. Calvin Ridley dropped some very catchable balls. That's supposed to be his best
That's a good point.
receiver.
He did.
I mean,
he did.
Ward put some balls on the money.
But you're in field goal range, and he's running backwards, so take him out with it. That gives him the lead in the fourth quarter.
That was a disastrous series. I think he was a little bit better than Cam Ward, but
everything considering, Cam Ward's first start ever, drops. But Bo Nix?
Bo Nix was terrible yesterday. Absolutely terrible. We watched that whole game.
Bryce Young?
Bryce Young was terrible yesterday. Watched that whole game.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson was terrible yesterday to the point where they're thinking about starting Jackson Dart this week.
We're on the same page. I think he was a little bit better than all those guys. Cam Ward, a little situational there, But yeah, so 27.
Yeah.
And that's that's kind of what you're going to get. That's hard. It's hard to win.
Yeah.
When you're in the last 5-6 quarterbacks, and I think with everything involved with their running game and this and that, and also the way I thought Bo Nix had the worst day of any quarterback, even though they won. I thought he had the worst quarterback, the worst day of anybody. He took the ball out of his hands, and then he gives it back in his hands on the 4th down. Was that bizarre?
We're talking about degrees of disaster here. I would go with Tua a little bit worse, but it's close, okay? They were both awful yesterday. Tua threw the ball right to a defensive lineman. Okay? The Dolphins looked terrible yesterday, but Bo Nix was awful yesterday. So
Does Bo Nix have a better running game in defense than Tua? Daniel Jones looked like Johnny Unitas yesterday.
We're talking about
Nix. I thought Nix was just awful yesterday.
He was,
and Tua was too. I mean, we're talking about degrees,
right?
I mean, you want to put him 31 and 30 at 1A, whatever. That's fine.
Those two were bottom of the barrel yesterday.
So, did you see him hang the guy out to dry though on the little swing pass back to the whole 15-yard line?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
There was, and the fact that Sean Payton put him in a position to throw the ball.
No, I'm talking about Rattler when he got the guy killed.
Okay, yeah. What do I expect out of Rattler? This Saints season, I think for me, unless I'm really surprised, is going to be a lot like Johnny Jones's last basketball season with LSU. We didn't after a couple of games. Like, I don't want to talk about big picture. We know about big picture. I'm just going to talk about the game because we know about big picture with the Saints.
Saints. I mean, this is one of those 4 games out the first 6 that they have a chance at winning.
Yeah, and they had a chance.
If he holds on to the ball, which he could have, does he go for 2?
I would have.
What the hell do you have to lose?
I would have. I thought Arizona was the slightly better team yesterday, and so I'm going to take my one shot to win it.
What do you think the fans wanted to do?
They would have. Yeah. If you're trying to win points with the fans, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I mean,
I would have gone for it.
But I mean, this is not a team this is not a roster that's going to contend. No. We know that. So
especially if you got to play in your pocket. I mean, he's an offensive guy. You got to play in your pocket that you.
You always
are pretty
say
sure
that, but I mean, if he doesn't,
well, if you got something that you think
quit
is going to
now.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have a 2-point conversion idea coming into the game, an offensive mind in his pocket, so to speak. When he needs to quit now.
Well,
of course he does, Joe.
Well, Buffalo had 3 of them last night.
2, right?
They went for it 3 times.
No, I think 2.
Well, the one
they did kicked. Remember when it was when they were down 15 the first time they scored, they go for 2. They're down 15 the second time they kicked it. So I think it was 2.
Maybe you're right. The one where he went out of bounds and came back in and caught it.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the one that was they ran the fade.
Right.
Okay. A lot happened in that game, so I might be getting a little bit caught up. But yeah, I would have gone for 2 if I'd have been.
If he holds on the ball, you convert. I mean, it's they had a chance. They went for it 3 times. Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Okay. So What can I say? It wasn't an abject disaster yesterday in the Superdome. It was a team that's got some flaws, a lot of flaws, and I feel like them, like I did before. Arizona was a 6.5 point favorite. They won by 7. That's kind of what was supposed to happen.
Yep. So, what's in San Francisco? They got a chance to beat San Francisco. San Francisco, I mean, was I thought a very shaky throw, just kind of throwing it, just kind of almost like, okay, I'm gonna close my eyes, and a great play on the ball by his tight end to bail him out for the play of the game.
The backup tight end because Kittle was out.
The play of the game. Yeah, Kittle got knocked out during the game. Don't forget over here at our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title for all of you real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie, and Bradford Smith, our great team at Legacy Title. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Walkons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Hey, Tiger fans, this is Ben McDonald with First South Farm Credit. When you're buying or refinancing land, it's important to go with a lender who has experience in financing rural land. That's why I went with First South when I bought my property. And with flexible terms up to 30 years and competitive rates, they can build a loan package that's right for you. Visit them online at firstsouthland.com or stop by one of their branches. Have a cup of coffee and find out why First South is your first call for financing land. firstsouthland.com.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
Oh, I can't believe we blew a 5-touchdown lead.
Sure, but you got to feel like they were going to win for almost the entire game.
But I was about to buy playoff tickets.
So you were prepared for a good time. That's pretty nice.
It's the worst loss any team has ever had.
And you got to witness history.
Okay, we're done here.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
That leaf pile is 100 feet tall. Your dad can't handle this. Not without the right equipment.
Yard work piling up? Gear up for fall with John Deere. Get $750 off select mowers, $2,000 off select Gator UVs, and $3,000 off select compact tractors.
Did I hear your dad got a John Deere? Yep, bad day to be a leaf pile.
Gear up for fall at an authorized John Deere dealer, now through September 30th. Learn more at johndeere.com/gearupforfall.
Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood? Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood. Well, I guess along with those sizzling steaks, we do have wood-fired oysters and scallops, beautiful sea bass, fresh Gulf fish and shrimp, and rich Ora King salmon. So yeah, Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood. Jefferson Highway across from Palermo Ristorante. Tell Leo that Kevin sent you. And don't forget, there ain't no cake in that crab cake. Come and see us.
Is your closet organized? Let's face it, most closets are cluttered and a hassle to organize, but that's just because they aren't designed around your specific needs. One Bath & Closets works closely with you to design your space where it makes sense for you and clears the clutter away. From shoe racks, baskets, seasonal storage, mirrors, drawers, cubbies, and doors, One Bath & Closets can make your dream closet a reality. Go with an industry leader in bathroom and now closet remodeling. Visit onebathandclosets.com to sign up for a free in-home consultation. That's onebathandclosets.com. Please consider making a donation locally through St. Vincent de Paul that truly helps people in need. If you have a boat, car, motorcycle, RV, clothing, housewares, or furniture you no longer use, please consider donating it to St. Vincent de Paul. This donation could get you a tax deduction. Visit sbdpbr.org.
How often will Trash Rangers come to your business and pick up your trash? We pick up commercial trash up to 6 times a week, depending on your schedule. For more info, visit trashrangers.com today.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
121-1674. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Troy Macker joins us right now from
no, we do not, Troy. I'll get
Okay,
him on.
okay. So we getting Troy on in just a second. Don't forget, we're brought to you by our good friends over at Charlie Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com. You know, when car pulled in front of me, totaled my car, airbags deploy, what am I going to do? I mean, oh, gosh, I got to call a doctor and try and get an appointment there. I got to call the insurance company. They're calling me, file the claim. All of that, yes. And then Dana handles all that. Got me in the doctor real quick. Got me in a back specialist really quick. And then dealt with the insurance company the entire time as well. It's only it softens the blow, takes as much pain. It's not exactly pain-free. We know that. It's a pain in the backside, but, you know, it's trying to make it as pain-free as possible for you when you get into these horrible situations. You get in an accident, call my friend Dana Brown, downtown Dana Brown, 343-1111 at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Troy, how you doing today, buddy?
Oh, man, I'm a bit tired. Yesterday took a lot out of me. First game of the season for the team I support, so had a bit of a party at a friend's house, and still getting my legs underneath me. Didn't really play in preseason, so I'm struggling a bit today.
A little Commanders watch party, maybe, huh?
Yeah. You know, I'm a eternal pessimist, even though they look to be good. But I like to put in work in week one because after that, I tend to just want to watch it myself and complain at the TV with no one in earshot.
Well, you got a shot because you don't have to pay your franchise quarterback just yet. And so we've seen that before. And they have added some pieces. And how bad were the Giants' offense and how improved is the Washington defense? Because they added some pieces. We saw Debo, some flashes, you know, with Debo Samuel. Saw Daniels miss a downfield throw to Scary Terry. That was a little unusual. He usually doesn't miss those, but he's not going to hit all of them. But no, this is the window. Charlie, you feel the same way with the Commanders?
Yeah, and
the structure of the league, that's the way it goes.
Not only that, but the guy that caught my attention, and this was in the preseason too, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the rookie out of Arizona, who was the whole reason that they traded Brian Robinson to San Francisco. He averaged 8 yards a carry yesterday. I mean, if they had a rushing attack, you know, these young, fresh legs here, Troy, to complement Jaden Daniels, that offense is going to be very, very difficult to deal with.
And Troy, the divisional games usually have very competitive, especially in week one. This one wasn't. This one was not.
Right. Yeah. No, that was my nerve right there. You know, both games against the Giants were very competitive last year. They won a game without scoring any touchdowns. They kicked 7 field goals. But yeah, no, it was impressive. Certainly some things to work on. You get a little nervous there, being only up 8 with entering the fourth quarter, because all the Giants they do is score 1 touchdown and convert a 2-point conversion. It's a tie game. Kind of, there was a moment where it was felt like, oh gosh, this is how the Bears game went last year, and you can't rely on a Hail Mary. But the fourth quarter was very impressive from a defensive standpoint. You know, the public was on entering the game was on the Giants heavy to cover 6. I think it was 6. It ended at 6. Entering Sunday, I think it was the 3rd most wagered on play. Commanders tickets outright was the second strongest play by tickets at 85.4%, and it was the most popular play by total tickets of all of Sunday. That's including the Ravens-Bills game, which was just madness. And you figure we saw a lot of in-play bets there, but People were backing the Commanders to win, which hit, but the Giants to cover, which did not hit.
Yeah. Did you see a lot of in-play talking about last night? I mean, we were all on Baltimore last night, and, well, I mean, when you start to see, if you knew at the end game, and we tried to preach, but there's never been a bad beat that you couldn't hedge out of or middle out, and there were plenty of opportunities. The Bills were roughly plus 260 when they got the ball down 8, when they failed the 2-point conversion. And they're about to kick off with, 2.5 to go. You got the 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning, the Bills. So Baltimore has to get a first down. They were plus 560. Were the live bets mostly? I don't know if you have that, Troy. I'm kind of hitting you off, off the hip here, but we're most on Buffalo at a price.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we took a $250 wager at Buffalo at 30-1. Which must have been way late. I mean, even without the crazy comeback.
That had to be Charlie before the fumble, huh?
I would think, yeah.
But it's very unique that the book is rooting for the Bills. We took a lot of money on Baltimore pregame. It was a pretty strong percentage too in terms of strength. And so you don't see that. Usually we're looking for Buffalo to lose because they're usually, heavily backed. But then when you tack on some of the live bets towards the end, it didn't help us out as much because, like I said, we took 34s, 30s, 12 and a half, 15s. But at the same time, this is what Baltimore does, man. I'm in the Maryland area. I'm very familiar with them. But I've said this on this show multiple times going back 3 years that the Ravens just like to play with their food too much late in the game. They're super explosive, but, I mean, I saw a stat today that, the Ravens have blown 17 fourth-quarter comebacks of double digits. And it's, the most ever for a long head coach tenure like John Harbaugh since, 1992 or something. They just, They had that loss at the playoffs that was gut-wrenching, and it's what do you do? How do you retool? You have all the players. You just got to be clean in the fourth quarter, and they're not. And so, if I had a little bit of hindsight, which is dangerous in betting, but, I would, if the Ravens are up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, I'd put a nibble on the other side just because this is something we see last year. They did it they blew, a 14-point lead against a bad Raiders team last year. Now, the Bills are really good. And you have them at home, Ravens were on the road, but the Ravens are, I would look to bet against them money line late in games just because you're going to get a good price on them.
4th and 2. And you don't put it in your hands. You've
that was the one thing Harbaugh did.
If you got trust in him, I mean,
I can't blame him for Derrick Henry fumbling. That's one of the best backs to ever do
well,
in the NFL.
He's got to do better. I mean, come on, if anybody, Derek, I mean, we going
No, but I can't put that. I can't put that on Harbaugh for putting the ball in Derrick Henry's hand.
No, of course not.
So he fumbled, but
not. You do anything else and turn it over. Why didn't you give it to Henry?
Yeah. But the 4th and 2, I'm going for. I mean, look at
it's an offensive game.
Yeah, look how the game is going.
This is not.
It ain't 13-12.
No.
That's what I'm not giving the ball back to Josh Allen if I can help it. I mean, they're gonna have to stop me 4 times.
Yes, yeah. I agree. Yeah. So, well, I didn't get on it at 35-1. I didn't have confidence in, but when you, boom, all of a sudden they're up 15 with the ball when he fumbles. Is that right? So, I mean, and that game was over. Josh Allen making a little comment in a post-game interview. Oh, some of them you left. I mean, he kind of he showed his Novak Djokovic sensitivity with the fans a little bit there.
It was 42-30 when he dropped.
Bit of a Miami
40-32 when he dropped.
In Orchard Park.
What's that?
I said a bit of a Miami Heat crowd up there in Orchard Park.
Man, that's a late game on the East Coast. There are a lot of other fan bases at that time with that situation that would have been more emptied out than that. There was still a ton of people in there. So anyway, Troy, so we got tonight's game with the Vikings and the
Bears.
And the Bears, road divisional favorite here. got by some close games yesterday. Tampa managed to come from behind and beat Atlanta, who misses the field goal. And then also Seattle had the lead against San Francisco, and they gave it up late. So similar situation with the visiting Bears, a divisional favorite here at Chicago.
Yeah. And, right now we got 68% of the money on the Bears money line, but 51% of the tickets on the Vikings spread, 76% of the money and 58% of the tickets on the Bears. And then 61% of the money and 68% of the tickets on over. It's currently 43.5. I've said it a billion times. I'm a unders better. I really was debating going under across the board yesterday, just, a very small wager. But I like week one playing, in the NFL, the same side across every Sunday game because I think you're going to get a lopsided play from whether it's, under in every game or dogs to cover in every game. I've seen that over the last 3 or 4 years that it's usually not an 8-8 split on Sunday. So, you could take a big loss, but you could also take a big win. And unders, I'm not sure about the Vikings yet because I haven't seen J.J. McCarthy.
Sure.
And I'd like to see a little bit more from the Bears before I start really hammering them in overs because of what I saw last year. But some interesting trends. The Vikings have lost 5 of their last 6 road openers. And the home team has covered the spread in 5 of the Vikings' last 6 games. And 7 of the Bears' last 8 home openers have gone under. So that, indicates a very close, potentially Bears win and covering the spread. So, maybe a 2-point win, but it stays under. Should be an interesting game. We're going to learn a lot about these two teams because they are remarkably different than last year when the Vikings, had an incredible season with the quarterback they didn't want, and the Bears have the quarterback they want but needed offensive coordination, and they finally got it.
Hey, Troy, into college football now. I put out a money line parlay, which usually includes all favorites, and it did hit this week. It seemed like minus Florida and South Florida that maybe we didn't see these monumental upsets. Did you guys have some winning tickets for these college money line parlays this week?
Yeah, we did. This was one where there were some more teams, especially down the ladder at the FBS level that, were heavy favorites. Like I think Eastern Michigan versus Long Island. But in terms of the teams we discussed, the only other big loss was SMU versus Baylor. That was a wacky game.
K-State Army.
Yeah. And people were hammering K-State even though they struggled in overseas, but because Army lost to Tarleton State, albeit double overtime, people were not impressed by Army. But, SMU money line, that was the 4th most popular play. But, the interesting thing is, I was hesitant to take a lot of teams week one, the heavy spread favorites. And I should have jumped back on some of those teams, and especially overs. I was strong on unders in week one, week two. I should have gone back because you're figuring the good teams, they're getting better, and the bad teams, they're getting better too, but not at the same clip as the good teams. They needed that week one to get some rust off. So, we took a lot of losses, the book did, because Alabama covered 35.5. Oregon covered 28.5.
Yes.
USC covered 28.5. Arkansas covered 23.5. Texas, I think, was one of the only, strong public losses, 82%. They did not cover, 36.5? So, it was a good week for college football bettors to get back on the wagon.
And that's not just at Bet Rivers. That is universal. It is unbelievable. Yeah. The most of the betting public bets those 4-5 touchdown favorites like there's no point spread. It's unbelievable. But maybe the last time to get his favorable power rating against Oklahoma State, it might be really, really bad this year. Troy, thank you, brother. We'll talk to you on Friday previewing where all the action is. Good stuff, man. Very interesting. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you Friday.
Thanks, guys.
Live at lunch, live at Walkons in Brusly, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
When we started GMFS Mortgage here in Baton Rouge 26 years ago, do you know where we wanted our headquarters to be? Here's a hint. We've never moved. That's right. We started in Baton Rouge. Our loans are originated, processed, and underwritten in Baton Rouge. Every step of the mortgage process happens here in Baton Rouge. So when you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, please check out GMFSmortgage.com and choose GMFS Mortgage of Baton Rouge. We are your local lender.
NMLS number 64997 is an equal housing lender. Mortgages originated at 7389 Florida Boulevard, Suite 200A, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70806.
When you've been in the industry for over 20 years, you learn a few things. For one thing, you learn your product inside and out. But you also learn how to ask the right questions and give satisfying answers. Jim's Firearms.
He's got a man open!
Football's back.
Do you have your streaming subscriptions to watch the games? It'll cost you.
What?
Prime, Netflix, YouTube TV, it adds up.
Good thing local radio and TV stations bring us hometown games free.
But that could change. Tell Washington. Modernize the rules so your local stations keep bringing you the sports you love for free. Text radio to 39179.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text stop to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This summer, bring your backyard to life with a pool from Renaissance. Known for custom craftsmanship and one-on-one attention, Renaissance Home and Pools turns your vision into reality. Owner Joey Blanchard brings 20 years experience and cutting-edge 3D designs, so you'll know exactly what to expect every step of the way, from the first sketch to your first swim. Renaissance delivers pools built to inspire and to have fun in. Visit builtbyrenaissance.com and let your backyard renaissance begin.
Don't just work a job, build a career with Custom Security Systems. We've protected South Louisiana for over 48 years, and we're hiring experienced installation and service technicians now. Competitive pay, steady work, and room to grow. Apply today at CustomSecuritySystems.com.
We've got a variety of amazing events this September at the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. The 48th Annual Author Illustrator Program welcomes prolific children's authors Andrea Davis Pinkney and David Pinkney. Celebrate with incredible music from local musicians at the Red Stick Rhythms Concert Series. And Saturday Science for Teens returns too. Bring that whole family to the Bilingual Family Hour with stories, songs, and games that celebrate language and culture. For details on these exciting programs and more, visit ebrpl.com.
Toyota's bringing its A-game this season. From the linebacker tough Tundra to the Camry that cuts through traffic like a wide receiver. Every model's built to score. With legendary reliability, safety that covers all zones, and deals that make you spike the savings, Toyota's the winning drive you've been waiting for.
Need a short-term play? Ask about Toyota Rentals and get in the game today. Visit All-Star Toyota at Airline and Goodwood and take the wheel before the clock runs out. All-Star Toyota. People you know, cars you trust.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Struggling to lose weight? Feeling overwhelmed by diets and exercise plans that just don't work? There's a better way. Unique Physique offers weight loss injectable medications. Semaglutide, now only $195 a month, and tirzepatide is only $325 a month. The lowest prices in town. No contracts, no gimmicks, just real results without the hassle. Visit uniquephysique.com or call today to schedule a consultation and unlock your weight loss potential. Unique Physique, your weight loss solution.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We're also brought to you by Total Maintenance, AC and heating, generators, electricity, and plumbing, your one-stop sales shop for all of these needs. Since 1980, their slogan has been, nobody goes to sleep hot. So let that service today, every day, get you going with Total Maintenance. They are an authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Daikin, and Rheem AC units, Generac and Cummins generators for all your electrical and plumbing needs as well. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000 in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance. We're here at Walk-Ons in Brusly. We'll accommodate the Brian Kelly press conference as we do on Monday about 11:40. We'll send it to the network, and Brian Kelly speaks at noon today. He's fired up after the game at his coaching staff. more than anything. It's, we appreciate candor from the coaches.
He's transparent as what coach has been so transparent that's come through here? He is at the top of the list, Charlie.
He really is.
And it's just why are coaches so paranoid with it? Because they're making more money than they ever have, and how can I sustain it? We're talking about the SEC coaches, the ones, and this is his last stop.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going anywhere after this one, so this is his last stop. And
like a tenured professor.
He's not worried about job security. His money's guaranteed unless he does something really dumb, and so he is almost to a fault. I'm not crazy about we're gonna play 8 linemen. I know he played 7, but it's still. But he's a good soundbite. So much of the coach speak is just get in, get out. Oh, we respect them. Oh, they're great. Oh, don't forget about South Florida. We get all that, and it's been all. But he's interesting to listen to.
I'm curious to see what his demeanor is today, because after that game he even said, he goes, "Look, man, if I didn't think we were good, I'd just get up here and spin it." I mean, that's exactly what he said. So we'll see what he's got to say today.
And to maybe, you expect a letdown sandwich spot after a big win, but maybe not this ugly.
Hour number 2 straight ahead at Walk-Ons in Brusly, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hi, this is Coach Brian Kelly. Hollingsworth Richard Ford has been a member of the Tiger Transportation Team since 1990. Since my arrival in Baton Rouge, I have come to know the Hollingsworth Richards family and have been impressed by the environment and culture they have established at their dealerships. When it's time for you to start searching for a vehicle, it's important to do business with someone you can trust. So the next time you're in the market for a new car or truck, make sure you visit Hollingsworth Richards Ford and tell them Coach Kelly sent you. Go Tigers!
At Landmark Bank, we're more than just your local bank. We're your neighbors. We cheer on the hometown team, shop at the corner store, and know you by name when you walk through our doors. Hi, I'm Ashley McDaniel with Landmark Bank. Whether it's saving for college, buying your first home, or growing your small business, we're right here with you. Because when you bank local, you grow local. And we're proud to grow with you right here where you live. Landmark Bank, banking with people you know. Member FDIC.
Let Southern Outfitters be your one-stop shop for all your hunting season needs. From archery, stands, saddle hunting, waterfowl, apparel, firearms, and ammo, they have everything you need for a successful hunting season. Out in Zachary, right off of Main Street, Southern Outfitters.
Hey, it's Gordy Rush, and we're excited to introduce Guaranteed Digital Media, your trusted partner in navigating the ever-evolving digital landscape. We offer a full suite of digital media services designed to help your business grow online. The digital world can be complex. Let the team you already know and trust guide you through it. Get a free website audit today. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com. GuaranteeMedia.com.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
Oh, I can't believe we blew a 5-touchdown lead.
Sure, but you got to feel like they were going to win for almost the entire game.
But I was about to buy playoff tickets.
So you were prepared for a good time. That's pretty nice.
It's the worst loss any team has ever had.
And you got to witness history.
Okay, we're done here.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Water is water.
right? Not when it's Evermore. Smooth-tasting Evermore water is Mother Nature's masterpiece. Evermore is natural artesian water. Maybe you want a healthier lifestyle, a high-end athlete who wants better hydration, or a parent who wants something healthier for their kids. You want Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore. Available at great local retailers.
Insurance companies have teams of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Here, Walk-Ons in Brusly, great place to watch the games on the weekend for Monday Night Football. And if you're a beer guy or a beer gal, come over here. Over 4 dozen beers on tap, including their seasonal brews that they rotate in and out along with all your traditional favorites here at Walk-Ons in Brusly.
Yeah, we're not far away too from opening these garage style doors.
Next time we come,
be open. A little bit this morning, man. This is nice today. Very nice today. I'm sure the LSU fans would have traded today's weather for Saturday's, huh?
A little bit warmer out there.
Max said he was like blown away. He had to put some ankle weights on just so he didn't get blown away.
Max, he's at those tents with the misters and everything. It's just,
yes.
First class.
Yes.
First class all the way.
Yes.
Over the weekend, LSU's next opponent is the Florida Gators, who lost to South Florida 18-16. I gotta believe that this is the beginning of the end for Billy Napier if it wasn't before. South Florida won the game. They outgained Florida in the game. Florida had 11 penalties for 103 yards in the game. It wasn't flukish with a bunch of turnovers and things like that. Florida did snap the ball over the punter's head for a safety, but mostly, South Florida played them straight up and won the game at the end. This, in addition to the next 4 games for Florida, all against ranked teams, 3 of them on the road, starting with this one here in Baton Rouge on Saturday. And it's tough to see Napier surviving this thing. One other note about Napier before we talk about the game. The one question was, would Napier's future be tied to that of the athletic director, Scott Strickland, who, with the exception of Napier, has been uber successful there since he got there in 2016. This kind of flew under the radar last week, but Strickland signed a 5-year contract extension that will keep him under contract through October of 2030 at over $2 million a year. And they gave him the same golden parachute that they gave Jeremy Foley, which means that 5 years after he's not the athletic director, he gets to stay on the payroll, gets to keep all of his benefits, gets to keep using the university airplane, and gets to keep making $100,000 a year basically to play golf. So if there was any question about would Strickland be tied to Napier and feel some loyalty to him, because let's be honest, Jimmy, when you're an athletic director at a school like Florida or LSU or Georgia or Texas A&M or certainly Alabama, you hire one bad football coach, a lot of times you don't get to hire the next one. And even with Strickland's record, he hired Todd Golden. They won the national basketball championship last year. They've had multiple national titles in the Olympic sports over there. By all accounts, they've opened up a brand new practice facility over there, an $85 million football facility, a $65 million baseball stadium. He raises money, but everything revolves around football. So if there was any question about whether he would be tied to Napier, he is not.
Well, Napier, an unfair card, if he was dealt Tennessee's schedule or Missouri's schedule or Texas' schedule in his 2-year Band-Aid, he might have a better shot.
Yeah.
Because you talk about, he can't survive because of 14. Well, he's not in charge of the schedule, but he is in charge of disciplining his team. You mentioned 11 penalties for 103 yards, but you failed to mention one that's going to get a lot of run and is getting a lot of run.
And should.
And that is when South Florida takes the ball over, down 1 with 2:22 to go at their own 11. At their own 11, so they may need a little help on this to get down there and set up a short field goal. And so when you get the unsportsmanlike conduct for spitting on a Florida player, that gives them the 15 yards and kind of just
gets the drive going.
And you lose a player because he's ejected, and then a standalone NFL game just before. Do you not take that chance? Say like extra teaching moment.
Teaching
this
moment,
can't help.
sure.
I mean, like, do you not? So I mean, maybe they're not related, but then again, that kind of makes it a little bit worse that you just had an easy teaching, a layup teaching opportunity to make sure your players don't do it. So, but 11 penalties, but that one, and that's tough. Lagway. Do we think he's a dual threat?
Absolutely.
Okay. 9 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's tough.
6 carries, 9 yards rushing. So Florida and Army were Florida and Kansas State were the 2 home favorites, double digit that lost. And Avery Johnson, he's a dual threat, of course. They ran him 3 times for 14 yards. So that's fine. You want to, if you're trying to develop for the next level, you're passing, which a lot of quarterbacks could use. But you also kind of got to win where you are at the college level. And that's not a winning recipe for either of those quarterbacks to not have that not pose that rushing threat because you elect not to do it.
And I got to wonder, we talked about this with Rohan on Football Sunday yesterday. DJ Lagway basically did not have an off season. We talk about what you can do in the off season to get better. How much time can you work out? He missed all of spring practice. He missed most of the summer workouts. He missed the beginning of fall camp. And it's not just one injury. He had a hamstring. He had a sports hernia surgery. He had a shoulder deal. So it hasn't been just one thing. And you wonder how much, developmental he's missed in what would be a critical offseason for him.
Charlie, if they had won by, just won the game, we wouldn't be looking at Lagway's passing numbers that he's really that far behind. Threw for 222. Touchdown, interception, 6.7 an attempt. They're way worse numbers in college.
Well, I was responding to the rushing totals. Are they hesitant to run him? Is he a little bit gun shy? I don't know. I didn't watch it that close.
I don't know how many of the 6 rushing attempts were drop back originally. How many are design runs there? Maybe half?
I think the Lagway experience is a little bit misguided. So before he was a starter, he ran a lot. He would come in those packages. When he became the starter, that started against LSU, right, when he was pretty much the starter the rest of the way. At that point, he has not gained more than 10 yards rushing on the ground in a game. Now, of course, that includes sacks, which goes backwards. But he was a rusher before he got the starting job. When he got the starting job, he really didn't run as much anymore.
So that was his – he was a running specialist before he got the starting job, but now but those attempts have gone down. Still, I mean, I'm in a game. I might have to, use his legs.
And he's a big
old
kid.
Guy. Yeah.
He's almost 250 pounds.
And look, well, he's not removed. But you go back to that bowl game, against a depleted Tulane team, nobody's putting a whole lot. But against he was awful throwing the ball. I mean, really, really bad and really ugly. 2 of the worst interceptions I've seen. And he needed that time in the offseason to develop more as a passer. So even though he threw for 222, which is South Florida's got I watched the whole game. Those weren't easy yards. South Florida's roster is improved. Nobody in the country has 2 ranked wins right now but South Florida. So, they're improved. But they could be better. They should be better if he didn't miss as much time as he did.
Now, what kind of effort are you going to get out of Florida this
a
Saturday?
Desperate effort.
That's what I think, too.
Sure.
That's what I think,
sure.
too. And so it makes it just that much harder on you if you're LSU because you've got a wounded team, a team whose coach is in peril. You just got this is an embarrassing loss for them. This is to an in-state school. It's not just an unranked school. It's an in-state school. So I think you're going to get the.
It's the last time they lost to an in-state school at home, or
you mean besides Miami or Florida State?
Yeah, the directional.
Well, didn't they go to Central Florida last? No, that was Alabama.
They lost to Central Florida in a bowl game.
Okay.
About 3 or 4 years ago.
This one's going to be hard to get over for them. The Spitter, we're going to see what they do with him today. My hope is that he is suspended. I got asked yesterday if the league would step in here.
The league has to, because it's not an NCAA deal.
The league. The league really tries very hard not to step in situations. They would much prefer the schools do it, and we've seen, with way more egregious incidents than this. Jeffrey Simmons at Mississippi State comes to mind. The league does not want to play the heavy because, and no other athletic director is going to push for this because they don't want them messing in their business. So I think probably you'll see the league maybe privately lean on Florida a little bit to do something about this, but I don't know that for sure. We'll see. Later on today, but that was one of the big shockers of week number 2.
Gotta stop, man.
Come on, that's twice in a week. Two separate incidents, one pro and one college.
We're not going to be naive and that things in a pile don't happen, but with all the replay, you're not in a pile. So
Florida lost to UCF in 2021 in the Gasparilla Bowl. Their worst loss in memory, at least, would be Georgia Southern back in 2013. Not an in-state school. But
Billy Napier's record at Florida with the 2 games this year, 20-20 overall, 10-14 in the SEC.
Sunbelt Billy coming back to Louisiana.
That's a disaster for a Florida coach, wouldn't you say? That record. I mean, the circumstances, of course, but that's a disaster. You're expected to do more than that.
Where they were airing these flowery pieces, these team profiles, or in the summer on SEC Network, they showed some of the players celebrating, the basketball players celebrating their natty, and they said, our players are talking too. Why not us? Why not us?
That's why.
Yeah.
Remember, by the way, Lagway saved his job, really. I mean, let's be honest.
I went back and looked at those games. Lagway played well, but, man, go look at some of the key plays that were made down the stretch to them to win those games. The defense made just as many as Lagway, if not more.
But Lagway returning was one of the reasons they wanted to bring him back. They didn't want to lose Lagway.
And it's transferring was a big
worth
big
noting
deal.
that Florida's reportedly ahead for Elijah Haven, 2027 class out of Dunham. That might shake some things up if they lose their coach.
Well, the new coach might have a shot at him, whoever that is.
Don't forget our friends over at K&M Automotive, the only place I take my vehicle. He's on Segan Lane, 8445 Segan Lane, just off of Perkins, right across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery. My buddy Jason Payne. You've heard those horror stories of going in, trying to get your car worked on, and, man, you just get rung up. Wait, you paid what? For what? Not going to happen with Jason. He's going to try and explore all repair options before we get into the replace stuff. AC service, transmission, electrical, tires, check engine light comes on. Bring it on in. We'll handle it for you. He might be busy at that time. If he is, he'll schedule you a more convenient time to return. But regardless, go by and check out my buddy Jason Payne at K&M Automotive for a fair shake on your auto maintenance. 8445 Segan Lane across Perkins Road, across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery.
Live at the Walkons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch. This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111, and OCBrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance and Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. The Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Dozy Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941. Just outside the north gate of LSU. Fin Bomb, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee.
Get Moss Max and less tax during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and Dip Trio with $5 drink specials and $6 seasonal cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
Pizza that's true to its hand-tossed wood-fried tradition. Roca Pizzeria is heating up its new half-off happy hour, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. Come enjoy 50% off margarita, pepperoni, or cheese, craft cocktails, wine by the glass, and draft beer. Roca Pizzeria, 3897 Government.
Attention vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life with a remanufactured product from Jasper Engines and Transmissions. A Jasper remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential will extend your vehicle's life, giving you the extra cash to do the things you really enjoy. And Jasper offers a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. K&M Automotive, 636-2875. That's K&M Automotive, Siegen, near Perkins.
Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, or even 8x40 feet. Not just one size. These units can be customized for any use. Custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers or welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padial at Workbox a call at 343-4886, 343-4886, and workboxllc.com.
This is Charles Hanniger for Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike, so Coastal Capital Advisors will tailor a plan for your family's needs no matter your age or your financial situation. The bottom line is Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you and build a lifetime relationship. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
By now, you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crown Town Room at Dozy Place. The Crown Town Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze. For the perfect blend of sweet and spicy, you can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Dozy Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We're also brought to you by the Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store. You're getting ready for tailgating. We've out tailgating this past weekend. If you didn't make it, you're going out this weekend. Get your supplies at the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store. You know, you can go online, ThibodeauStore.com, make your order, and same-day pickup. If you end up time gets away from you a little bit later in the week, you can pick up your gear. Some of this stuff is available for delivery. So your pots, your accessories, your grills, your griddles, man. Look, Jimmy, you made your trip down right before the season started, but still plenty of supplies available if you're going tailgating this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on the website and do that and find some things that you like or you need. But I also would suggest, taking a trip down there and talking with, they're really knowledgeable. You ask them about different things. You just won't believe there's so much stuff. There's so many options and, just a little bit of everything. So you doing outdoor cooking and, man, look, when we get a morning like this, it gets a little extra incentive in the itch to get out there and do some tailgate cooking or do some of the the outdoor cooking at your house if you're just doing watch parties. So, no, highly suggest. I've done it, man, and it's tons of stuff. It is an absolute must trip. It's a must trip to go to the Thibodeau store or the Pierre Part store. And if they don't have it in stock, they even have more things that they can get shipped to your that they can find the inventory on to get shipped to your place as well. So it's all at the Thibodeau store and the Pierre Part store.
900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, Highway 70 in Pierre Part, and thethibodeaustore.com. There was a wonder, of course, if Clemson was going to have a hangover from the defeat against LSU in week number 1. That got answered very, very quickly. Troy took the opening kickoff and went 75 yards in less than 3 minutes and had Clemson in a 7-0 hole early. That hole got all the way to 16-3 at the half. Clemson had what they thought was a touchdown late in the second quarter, and they ruled it correctly, that the receiver's knee was down, and they ended up settling for a field goal. However, in the second half, Clemson came out and really dominated the third quarter. They got a touchdown, they got a pick, they got a touchdown on one play, they got another pick, they got a field goal, and they had the lead by the end of the third quarter. They tacked a touchdown in the fourth quarter and won this thing 27-16. The yardstick was very, very equal. 15 yards difference between the two. There were a lot of turnovers in this game, 3 for Troy and 2 for Clemson. But, Jimmy, again, do we talk about this as a hangover, that Clemson just needed a half to get themselves back together? Troy, what was the stat, Max? They trailed Nicholls State at one point last week.
Yeah, week 1, Nicholls
They finished
was
off with
leading.
a 21-0. I think it was 21-0 fourth quarter.
Maybe 28.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So if you're asking, is Troy one of the best mid-majors this season, or the group of 6? Not in week 1, they weren't. So, what do you think of Clemson's relative lack of, or relative strength now? Number 4 national ranking to open the season. You lost.
I don't care about that number 4 ranking. That's nothing to do with that's over what's
All right, well,
returned.
you've seen them play 2 games.
And well, they don't have. They still didn't think they had a great running game. Okay, and teams that return all 5 offensive linemen should usually have a better running game. They don't, and so they're kind of a little bit one-dimensional, and they're going to rely on Klubnik, to provide some of that rushing game. But 100%, you get a carryover effect from a big disappointing loss and a big time matchup at home, and not just that they lost the game, but they were kind of whooped as well. But then Dabo kind of woke them up in the second half. You saw a completely different team and a team that responded. One thing that he has been able to do at Clemson when they lose some games early is kind of keep them going, even whether they're out of contention for the ACC championship game, or think they're out of contention for ACC and playoff, like last year when they needed Syracuse to upset Miami to open the door for them. And he's been able to still win 8, 9, 10 games a year. This was a spot where he had a 15-minute halftime to try and get 20-minute halftime to get it done, and he did. It was a completely different team. To your point, Charlie, I mean, Georgia Tech's a good team. They play them on campus in Atlanta. This is their toughest road game of the year. I think they go to Dallas as well. So, I mean, Georgia Tech looks like they're better than SMU right now. So, they go to Chapel Hill. That doesn't look tough. So this is it's a sandwich spot for them too. After LSU and before their trip to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So did what they had to do, sloppy, but I'm not ready to give up on them. But I'm also, there's a little bit of it that they just might not be that good. But we saw them last year be good enough for this league, and maybe their preseason ranking was based on that prediction because their schedule was not super tough.
Yeah. So they did something in regard to the running game in the second half of this thing that caught my attention. They went to a senior back named Adam Randall. He's a 4-year player, all 4 years at Clemson. That's rarer these days. 9 career carries coming into this game. He carried 21 times, most of them in the second half, and he averaged over 5 yards a carry. He's been a third down back for them for 3 years. He's got over 50 career catches, but he doesn't look like a third down back. He's not one of these scat backs. He's 230 pounds. He's a real big physical kid. He just happens to have good hands. And they started handing him the ball in the second half, and they got the run game going.
Yeah,
that's not where I expected it to come from, but that's where it was.
So Cleveland, a couple sacks, and they have 5 rushes for -4 yards, okay? But nobody else had more than 2 carries.
Besides, except for Randy. Yeah,
so
they handed the ball to him in the second half.
How much did he run it against LSU?
He had 4 carries.
5 carries for 16
yards.
5,
okay. Yeah, he had 9 career carries coming in this game. So this was a very big departure from what he usually does for them. Like I said, he's basically been a third down back.
Redshirt senior in-state kid from Myrtle Beach. Yeah. So
maybe he's their Josh Williams. You know, Josh Williams wasn't expected to carry a load and really did.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you mean we don't have maybe the back that we're used to in Etienne or, and some of them other guys, but Spiller, but he might be the best we have, and then maybe some true freshmen, some recruits didn't pan out. I know they're talking about some high star guys, whatever. No, but this might be your best back to try and, improve the biggest weakness of your team. I'm not ready to give up on them yet. But they're at a spot. They got to play better against Georgia Tech.
You wanted to sell me your Penn State playoff tickets this week, and offer to give you my Clemson ones because that was when they were down 16-3. But I'm going to go ahead and hold on to them. I think that but don't go lose. If they go lose to Georgia Tech, my opinion may completely change. I'm very, very interested in that game. In Stark Vegas on Saturday night, Arizona State and Mississippi State played one of the more entertaining games of the weekend. State got up 17-0. Arizona State put 20 straight on the board. And then Blake Shapen and Mississippi State went the length of the field in just over a minute to put the winning points on the board. It was a real emotional night. It felt like, they tore the goalpost down. Jimmy, we touched on this yesterday. Since Mike Leach's passing. He's the first coach to pass in 40 years on the job. It's been a really, really tough go for them. The emotions, I thought, came out. I don't know if it was all due to, the whole deal with Leach or whatever, but they showed some heart the other night. I mean, to have Arizona State come all the way back on you and then put that drive together to win it.
So the 2 comebacks were, one – that came, Mississippi State managed to, hit that last throw and beat them, after they gave up the lead. But it was this game with Arizona State scoring all those points, 20 unanswered, and it was Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech, when they went 34-0 in the second half and overcame a double-digit halftime deficit, it was a lot of Diego Pavia. And so, well, of course, it's going to be Sam Levitt, right? A lot of it.
You would have thought.
It's 82 yards.
Yeah, that was the most shocking thing. I didn't see a lot of this game, but I saw the box go, wait a minute, that doesn't.
82 yards. Scatterb was going, no, they had 2 separate 100-yard rushers in this one, Brown and Udo. That's what it was. Levitt was awful and stayed awful, and he didn't help bring them back to take the lead eventually. And what does it say for the the SEC haters, huh? Mississippi State still think they're the worst team? And who are you going to put worse? Kentucky looked good.
Kentucky was very competitive on
Kentucky
on
was game on Saturday, man. Kentucky gave Ole Miss all they could handle.
Missouri beat Kansas. Who's the worst team in the league right now?
Florida? I mean, they lost to South Florida.
Well, South Florida's the only team in the country with 2 ranked wins. So,
preseason ranked wins, essentially.
Well, the time they played them.
I know, but
nobody looks like absolute roadkill.
Nobody has that though. Nobody.
I'm with you. I'm just saying, like, we're going off. Florida was ranked. Are they?
No, their schedule doesn't allow them to be ranked. Okay, at the end of the year. Okay.
Are they a top 25 team?
Florida probably not, but I'm not ready to give up on Florida. Like being able. What are they? Do they look worse this year than they did last year? And that was a team that beat Ole Miss and LSU and also could have beaten Georgia if he doesn't get hurt. I don't think they look any worse than they did last year. I'm not ready to give up on Florida. I mean, South Florida is, I know this, I saw South Florida push around Boise State. And I saw South Florida go toe-to-toe with them in a 50-50 game. They just happened to pull it out. But it wasn't this game was in the balance the whole time. So South Florida's much improved. I think Mississippi State still might be, but they beat your champion with everybody back minus one player.
Right. And
everybody back.
Nobody looks like I said, absolute roadkill.
The bottom may be tougher.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Kentucky lost, but Toledo first game. Toledo's going to win a lot of games this year, by the way. It's in the MAC, but Kentucky they had a little bit more explosive elements to their offense, Charlie. They gained some yardage. It was not your typical stuck in the mud Stoops type of stuff.
Yeah.
They were.
And Calzada got hurt late in the game, or they might have had a chance even to.
Well, Kiffin Kiffin took a chance on fourth down, and it wasn't just fourth down, hurry up and run that quick speed play, but he put it in a struggling quarterback's hands at that time, and he made the throw. They missed the tackle, and game was completely different after that point. But they were down double digits and really on the ropes there.
Simmons, when he threw the 2 first quarter interceptions, at that point he had 4 interceptions in 5 quarters of football. And so you have to make that decision.
Yeah, he was playing poorly.
Yeah, really did.
We'll find out what Arkansas is the next few weeks, too. They haven't played anybody yet.
So, yeah, I mean,
they've had 2 layups.
This is the blue book. I mean, who is going to be, at the end of the year, the worst team in the league?
Can I think about it?
Yeah.
Okay, during the break, I'm going to think about that.
I still think State has a chance. I think Arizona State came in there pretty damn overconfident, the way they got bum rushed.
Scatterboo was a big loss for them.
I
know they brought back everybody else, but that was a lot of their offense.
That is, but they had 2 guys rush for 100 yards. So the running game was non-existent. You got it. All of us like. This was completely out of nowhere.
82 yards for Levitt.
82 yards and 2 interceptions against a tougher place to play. There's no bigger culture shock going from Scottsdale to Starkville. So, but you've been to Scottsdale, Max.
Yeah, well, Sam Levitt's from the mean streets of Westland, Oregon. So he should be used to Starkville.
Yeah, something like that. So don't forget our friends over at Workbox and Workbox Services for all of your movable storage needs. My buddy Martin Padial has been over at Workbox for quite some time, but now they're bigger and better than ever. So got our buddy Martin Jr. in there, Hannah's in there, Brandy, Chris Brooks, and with now our second office of Workbox allows us to extend our coverage all the way down the Gulf Coast to New Orleans, through Baton Rouge, all the way to Lake Charles. So go on that I-10 corridor, surfacing all of these areas and everywhere in between. Movable storage needs, shipping containers. They come in custom storage containers, all different sizes with 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, and 8x40 feet. And we can customize them to your liking, your needs, no matter what they are. Custom lunchrooms, welders and plumbers. We can customize a work site. Safety storage near the plant. You need that? No problem. You need one air conditioned, shelving, lighting, wood materials, metal materials, whatever it is, we can do it exactly to what you want or what you need. Call my friends at Workbox 343-4886 or workboxllc.com.
Live at the Walkons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Sammy's Grill on Highland Road since 1988. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games in a casual atmosphere with the friendliest service. We're now bowling crabs at Sammy's every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday starting at 5 p.m. and on Friday, Saturday, Sunday starting at noon. Sammy serves a wide mix of authentic Louisiana food prepared to order with the best ingredients available. Fresh Louisiana seafood, Cajun favorites, burgers, and po' boys, all built from scratch. Our kids' menu and popular appetizers are sure to please the pickiest of eaters. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road near Starring since 1988.
This is Charles Hanniger for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Do you know what you would do if you were in a car wreck? It's easy to panic when you or someone you care about is hurt in an accident. Who will pay the medical bills? Who will pay the car repair? Who will deal with the insurance companies for you? Protect your rights. You need someone you can trust. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 343-1111. The law offices of O.C. Brown will handle everything for you. 343-1111 or online at ocbrown.com. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
1950, Phil's Oyster Bar started on Government Street. Then Gus Piazza took over in the 70s, and now his son Anthony has taken it to another level at the current location in South Dallas. It's always been a Baton Rouge landmark. Seafood, oysters, po' boys, burgers, and more, all served up in an atmosphere full of sports nostalgia and tons of TVs to catch all the games. Seafood gumbo, crawfish cheesecake, or my favorite, the meatball quesadilla to start. Check out dinner and bar specials at philsoysterbar.com. You know we bleed purple and gold at Phil's Oyster Bar in the South Down Shopping Center.
When it comes to celebrating life, there's no better place than Ruffino's. With locations in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Ruffino's is a steak, seafood, and Italian-inspired restaurant that focuses on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit ruffinosrestaurant.com. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Sometimes it's so hard to find someone to do home repair, odd jobs due to storm damage, or just regular wear and tear over time to your home. Do like I did and call Clean Sweep Restoration and Demolition. Roofing, flooring, debris removal, electric, sheetrock, painting, and much more. Pretty much whatever home maintenance you need, Clean Sweep can handle it. Call Pat Green at 300-7064 for a free no-obligation estimate. Fully licensed and insured, reasonably priced, and for over 20 years in the greater Baton Rouge area. Clean Sweep Restoration and Demolition, 300-7064.
This is Charles Hanniger for Total Maintenance. For AC and heating, generators, electricity, plumbing, and more, Total Maintenance is your one-stop sales and service shop for all these needs. One of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies. Since 1980, their slogan has been service today, every day, so no one ever has to go to sleep hot. An authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Daikin, and Rheem AC units, for Generac and Cummings generators as well. And now, for all of your electrical and plumbing needs, in Baton Rouge, call 480-1000. In New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day. Total Maintenance.
Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference. All in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net. Outdoors with Don Dubuque. Saturday mornings at 5 on.
Make sure you give me a 30 and to the hard out.
I got you.
Okay.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We know better than to do comparative scores. We had our hands slapped enough times way back when that we ditched that a long time ago. But I can't help but look at Vanderbilt playing South Carolina this weekend and look at what both of them did against Virginia Tech. In the second half, Virginia Tech ended up with less than 20 yards of total offense and took a 20-10 lead into the break and ended up losing it 44-20. Jimmy, that's one of the biggest, second half ass whippings that you have seen, man.
For Virginia Tech fans, it's going to be tough to. This is the most challenged SEC program in the Pavi or not to come into your place, Lane Stadium, and it's almost to the point like, all right, enter Sandman, that's done. Well, let's go.
Yeah, they were in the game with South Carolina. It's a 2-point game going to the fourth quarter with South Carolina, who's supposed to be good. That's a top 15 team on paper, at least.
Outgained South Carolina.
Yeah, and
they could have won.
You get a couple of plays there late that South Carolina makes, and they end up winning the game by 13. But nothing like this. Everything was fine for 6 quarters. Okay, you lost a tough game, neutral site to what we think is a pretty good South Carolina team. Maybe they're not. I don't know. And you're rolling with a 10-point lead against Vanderbilt, and you figure, okay, you're gonna win this game. It's gonna 10-point win, 14-point win, something like that. And they just get steamrolled in the second half. Less than 20 yards of total offense, and Vanderbilt scored a touchdown every time they had the football until they kneeled it out. Wow.
All right, Charlie. Which game is LSU more likely to lose? The home game to South Carolina or the road game to Vanderbilt?
The road game to Vanderbilt. I don't think that they're going to lose in Tiger Stadium this year, period.
Road game to Vanderbilt or who?
Home game against South Carolina.
I don't think South Carolina is that good.
I
don't think South Carolina is any better than. And they're playing at South Carolina. There's a 6-point spread.
LSU or Vanderbilt?
South Carolina Vandy this week.
South Carolina is at South Carolina this week.
6-point spread.
Yeah, 6, 5.5, 6.
Okay, so I mean the odds makers don't think it's the neutral. They're that much different either. So
Right.
yeah, home and away. I mean, South Carolina is not as good as they were last year. I just don't see it.
Lost a lot defensively.
And then Sellers is up there for the Heisman odds. Where's Pavia? They just played the same defense the last 2 weeks. Huh? I mean, there was no comparison. Who had better success and on the road as opposed to, on a neutral site.
Pavia doing it again with the arm and with the legs. He had 2 touchdown passes. He ran for 61 yards, and wow, that was a steamroller in the second half. All right, we're going to send you to the Brian Kelly press conference. We are at Walk-Ons in Brusly. Jimmy, you said they were going to open up the windows here the next time. They opened them up right now. It's so nice. Come out here on the front area of Walk-Ons and enjoy.
Officially football season.
Yeah, come on over here and get a good meal.
Saints
Watch
were
the
close.
game. Lots of
Moral
draft
victory.
beer. Brian Kelly
victory.
press conference, and we're back on the other side. Live at lunch.
It's game week for LSU Fighting Tiger football. This is the Brian Kelly press conference presented by the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. The race for an SEC title starts this week. LSU hosting the Florida Gators on a Saturday night in Death Valley with kickoff at 6:30.
You can tell by my voice I'm not happy with the performance, but it's a win. The outcome in this instance was what we wanted. It's certainly not the way we wanted to get there, so we got a lot of work to do.
Coming up, head coach Brian Kelly sets the tone for the Tigers this week and updates all things LSU football. But first, with a preview of this week's matchup from inside the Capital One studio at legendary Tiger Stadium, here are former Tiger Gordy Rush and the voice of your Fighting Tigers, Chris Blair.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's the Brian Kelly press conference as we get ready for another great weekend upcoming of college football with your LSU Fighting Tigers. As the big voice guy mentioned, it's the SEC opener. It'll be the Florida Gators and your Tigers around 6:44. Boot will meet ball inside Tiger Stadium in one of the most contentious rivalries, certainly over the last so many years in SEC play. Coming up at 12 noon, we'll head over to football operations. Coach Brian Kelly will address the media, talk about this past Saturday's win, 23-7 over Louisiana Tech, and again, talk about what's going to be worked on coming into this matchup with Florida. And Gordy Rush, again, 23-7, LSU off to a 2-0 start. Always great to say that. I know a lot of people, including Coach Kelly, maybe not pleased with the way that win came about. But he was quick to point out, as we just heard a moment ago in his post-game press conference, to say, hey, look, it's a win. We didn't like the way it looked, and that's not going to get wins against better competition. No disrespect to Louisiana Tech. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of hard work going on over at Football Ops this week. Your take now after several hours removed from what you saw on the sideline.
Look, you knew that LSU was not going to be at the same intensity level that they were a week ago after that Clemson game. Heck, early sign of that should have been when Clemson fell behind Troy 16-0 and had to come roaring back to beat Troy at home 27-16. Just being a part of those epic games, it drains a little bit out of you. And keep in mind, LSU with the transfers that they have in, I think a lot of people learning to play together and going through the ups and downs of what is the college football schedule, in particular the SEC schedule, and these big emotional games. That being said, I thought the defense played lights out. They were fantastic. If you take the one blown coverage out, they were clean, and they throw a shutout holding Louisiana Tech to 154, 55 yards. The defense did their part. Offensively, you didn't see. I didn't think the offense was sharp. There were too many mistakes, again, lineups and 9 penalties. I think 7 of them on that side of the football, and they just weren't in sync. And give Louisiana Tech credit. They ran a defense that LSU did not see the week before against Clemson, and they don't see at practice, and it's really a rare defense. It's a 3-3-5. It's what, the air raid offensive coordinators always love that defense because it's one that brings a lot of pressure, and basically they want to do 2 things. You're going to score quickly, right, or we're going to turn you over, but we want you to play our pace of ball, and, of course, that didn't happen for Louisiana Tech. But that 3-3-5 gave LSU's offense some problems.
Yeah, it really did. And Coach Kelly talked about that. I'm sure he'll either be asked about it or mention it again. It almost seemed like Louisiana Tech, maybe the opposite mindset that we think of in these type of matchups, where both offensively and defensively, you don't want to do anything to get yourself beat.
Right.
Offensively, you kind of want to take the air out of the ball, let that clock run. At times, Louisiana Tech lining up, trying to get that tempo going. And then defensively, they were pretty aggressive all night. I mean, they were throwing pressure at Garrett almost the entire game. So it was almost as if Coach Cumbie was like, yeah, I know that's kind of the textbook of how to approach this, but let's just do what we do in preparation for games coming up in Conference USA.
That's a great point, Chris. And Louisiana Tech ran, I thought, what was going to be their normal scheme. They mixed some pressure packages and some creative fronts up there, and then they played some shell behind it. And downs in which there were throwing downs, they did a nice job with some double zones and doing a nice job of some coverages against this very talented LSU wide receiver room. So, again, credit to Louisiana Tech. And these situations, Louisiana Tech's a D1 football program, and Sonny Cumbie's been up there a couple of years, and he's trying to get that thing going. They were going to come give LSU their best shot, and that's certainly what they did on Saturday.
Let's talk about the offense a little bit, because I think you assessed it perfectly in the sense that there were some big plays. It looked like, this might be the shot in the arm they needed, but it was kind of clunky overall. You'd have maybe a step forward and then 2 steps back, whether it be penalties, which LSU had more than their fair share. Louisiana Tech did as well, I might add. But 128 yards on the ground on its face, you're like, okay, 128 yards. I guess when you dig deep and you realize that 91 of those came on 2 plays, Harlan Berry and Xavion Thomas, maybe that's a little concerning. You got an up-close look in 2 games now with this revamped offensive line. Again, it looked like Garrett at times was forced out of the pocket, not a lot of opportunity to let those routes develop. We didn't see maybe as many deep shots, certainly more so than we saw in week number 1. And Louisiana Tech kind of made it look less impressive because of the pass interference calls. But your thoughts on the offensive line to run the football and to give Garrett the opportunity, because he's great when he sprints out, and there's plenty of plays that are designed to do that. I just don't know that we've seen enough of him being able to drop back 5 steps, scan the field, give his receivers time to get that big one over the top.
Yeah, different from a week ago at Clemson when the ball came out quickly. They held the ball a little bit longer. And, again, Louisiana Tech in those situations played some double coverage. And there were times that Garrett couldn't find someone open, and there were times that the wide receivers didn't drop the football. Louisiana Tech made some good plays back there in the secondary. It's a little bit of everything, right? It just wasn't a sharp performance. I think probably, most concerning when you look at the film, I thought there were too many times the offensive line had even numbers. So 6 defenders against 5 offensive linemen and a tight end, and LSU wasn't able to have success in the run game. We knew Braylon Moore went out early with an injury, and I'm sure Coach will talk about that in this press conference. And DJ Chester came in, and actually, according to PFF, he was the highest-rated offensive lineman in the group. But I think it's one of those things that if you just have one guy with a miscue that can, lead to a tackle or not a successful running play, and that's what it was. And again, it wasn't a sharp performance, and you're going to have to be better against a good Florida team.
and we'll talk about the Gators, and obviously they've got a lot to prove after last week.
No doubt about it. And as we said from the very opening, a win is a win, and the Tigers are 2-0, so everybody is pleased about that. And I think you're going to get, a good litmus test. I know that's an overused phrase, but I think so against the Florida team, because you got a team who didn't come away with a blowout win. In fact, they ended up in a heartbreaking loss at home to an in-state school. So that they certainly have been able to get the attention. At least you hope if you're a Florida Gator, and we'll find out. But I think LSU coming off not a great performance, I think Coach Kelly and the staff are going to have their attention as well.
Look, it was a sold-out Tiger Stadium. It was a great Tiger walk. And I'm telling you, I haven't done that walk and come out of the tunnel. There's some times where you hear dun, 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 and it just doesn't, the excitement doesn't go all the way to the top. And, unless you've been there and done it to understand it, this is one of the games you don't have a problem with that.
No.
Right? There's no love lost between these two. It's a revenge game after Florida beat LSU last year, and the whole place will have a different vibe.
And again, before we move ahead and talk about the Florida Gators, get a preview and what Gordy expects to see from them on Saturday, probably the biggest news coming out of Saturday here in Baton Rouge was, as you said, the injury to Braylon Moore in the first play from scrimmage after he had been heralded by all the staff about how he's kind of lifted the entire offensive line. You probably, good news there, at least if you got to have an injury. Just don't know how much time he'll be away with what we expect to be a high ankle sprain. And then, of course, Trey'Dez Green.
Yes.
A mismatch monster that is such a weapon for LSU. I think we got good news. I think we felt better yesterday and than we did Saturday night. But again, going to be without him for some time, and I'm sure Coach is going to probably talk about it, maybe have an update for us.
The updates, and we'll see what Coach says here, and if he confirms what's out there. Certainly better news than I expected on both. And then you saw the film on both of them, and those were scary moments for LSU. So, Trey'Dez, as I talked about on the broadcast, he came out of the tent after being in there for about 10 minutes with a brace on his knee, and he was on crutches, and hopefully it's just a sprain, and he's going to miss a couple weeks. And then Braylon, I think the trouble, it's a high ankle sprain. If it's a high ankle sprain, it's really tough to come back in a week. And then you're looking at the schedule here with Southeastern on the horizon. Is it something you try and take 2 weeks and hopefully get him back for that road trip in week 5 to Oxford?
No doubt about it. 23-7, LSU gets the win. Again, they moved to 2-0 on the season. They've got the Florida Gators coming into town this coming Saturday with kickoff set for about 6:44 Central Time. We'll take a timeout. Again, coming up at 12 noon, Coach Brian Kelly will join us from football operations. Before he does, we'll find out what Gordy knows about this edition of the Florida Gators when we return right after this.
In Louisiana, we love our LSU Tigers. When the band strikes up those 4 iconic notes, the fans go wild. At Louisiana Blue, we're Tiger fans too. That's why we've teamed up with LSU Athletics to bring you the compassion of the cross and security of the shield, so you're free to wear your stripes and roar. Live Louisiana. We've got you. Louisiana Blue, Louisiana True.
Proud partner of LSU Athletics.
With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Tex Morris on Jefferson. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
ALS is a progressive and neurodegenerative disease, and we need your help to find a cure. The mission of the ALS Association, Louisiana-Mississippi chapter, is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS, and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. Whether you are newly diagnosed, a military veteran, a caregiver, or someone looking to learn more about how to navigate living with ALS, they can help. Visit ALS.org to learn more. That's ALS.org.
Get ready, Tiger fans! Venture Global is proud to partner with LSU Athletics, powering Louisiana and the world with clean, low-cost, reliable energy and fueling the future of our great state. As we cheer on the Tigers this season, we're also driving innovation, creating jobs, and supporting our local communities. Together, we're building a brighter, more sustainable tomorrow. Venture Global, proud partner of LSU Athletics, powering champions on and off the field. Go Tigers!
Coming up, Coach Kelly addresses the media on this week's preparation. This is the Brian Kelly Press Conference, presented by the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. Here again are Gordy and Chris.
This coming Saturday night, it will be Florida and LSU, the SEC opener inside Tiger Stadium, with kickoff coming around 6:44 Central Time. And Gordy, this is a series that, as I said, very contentious, certainly over the last 10, 15, 20 years. It became a mainstay, and LSU had Florida's number. In fact, until last year, they'd won 5 in a row dating back to 2019. The overall series, pretty tight. Florida with 34 wins, LSU with 32. Florida, as we mentioned, suffering a heartbreaking loss for them, not for us, of course. 18-16 to South Florida there at the Swamp. And you and I talked when we got here this morning. Again, I got to think that the coaching staff at Florida is kind of feeling the same way, except they didn't get the win, obviously, but they didn't help themselves. They made a lot of mistakes and let a really good team in South Florida, who's off to a 2-0 start, hang around, and then they get the field goal there with 3 seconds to go in the ball game.
You know, Chris, that's a good way to describe it. They let them hang around. In the first half, it was 9-3 at halftime, and the Gators settled for 2 short field goals and really struggled on third down. They were 4 of 12 in third down conversions. They had 11 penalties for 103 yards. And it was just sloppy. And you know, DJ Lagway, who I think is a fantastic talent, at times he held on the football a little long. At times he ran when they were open receivers. And again, they just were not in sync after that first big win that they had. I believe it was against Long Island, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it.
And then just everything that could go wrong for Florida went from there. They had a special teams mistake in which the deep snapper snapped it over the punter's head, and that was a safety that turned out to be the margin of the difference in the football game. And then the one touchdown that they gave up to South Florida, Chris, Florida was not lined up. 10 of the 11 players were looking at the sideline when the ball was snapped. South Florida threw just a go down the sideline, and the cornerback and the safety for Florida both went for the football and took each other out. And the wide receiver basically walked down into the end zone. And then late in the game, South Florida missed the field goal. They got the ball back, drove down the field, and then 2 Gator penalties, 30 yards worth of penalties, including a Florida defender spit on a South Florida player, just everything you don't do. It was a sloppy football game. I can understand the frustration down there in Gainesville in Florida. That was just really not a well-played game at all for the Gators, for a team that really has good talent, as we saw. They had established an identity under Billy Napier, and they just did not play well.
Yeah, you mentioned it, just not helping themselves. In fact, I just watched the interception that Lagway threw. It looked like a designed sprint out. I mean, he had no pressure. He took the snap out of the shotgun, kind of slowly went to his right, but instead of getting set, he kind of threw it awkwardly as if there was pressure there, overthrew it. South Florida gets the big INT, and that's one of those plays I'm sure when they watch it this week, they're going to be like, you had time to get set. You had time to hit your guy. It was just not a very good throw, but it all started, I think, with a bad decision.
Yeah, and it just wasn't a sharp game. All of those stats really don't play it out. He was 23 of 33 for 222 yards. Their 1-2 punch of Lagway and Jane Baugh, who we saw last year. He's an outstanding. He was a freshman running back a year ago. He's a sophomore now. 18 carries for 96 yards. He's a big back. They're physical up front. They held the ball for 10, 11 minutes more than South Florida. Again, on third down, they couldn't convert. They settled for field goals, and they continued to shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, we just got a little update. Coach Napier, I believe, had his press conference earlier today, and one of their pieces, unfortunately, not going to be able to go on Saturday, at least according to the coach, and that's linebacker number 11, L.J. McCray, apparently broke his foot, and he will be out. And then, of course, there's the whole spitting incident and possible suspension, or, I think he was a little coy on exactly what they're going to do as far as that player is concerned, but we'll see, because I think the public pressure, or at least the pressure around college football, probably going to lead them to have some type of consequence.
Yeah, and, it's unfortunate, but especially when you look at Florida, and unfortunately for the Gators, they're one of those teams that drew schedule impossible. I put Florida in Oklahoma, I thought got the hardest of the SEC draws. Not to slight LSU, they certainly have a very difficult schedule, but Florida comes to LSU, then they go to Miami next week, which is their choice, right? South Florida and Miami were two of the non-conference games that they scheduled, along with Florida State. You're not doing yourself too many favors when you do that. But after that, they'll get Texas and Gainesville. They go to College Station to play Texas A&M. Then they get Mississippi State, who looks much improved. And then you play Georgia. And, oh, by the way, Tennessee and Florida State. I mean, this is murderer's row. So the dangerous part about that for LSU, if I'm Billy Napier and I'm in that locker room, it's now or never. Right? Either the switch goes on right now or this thing can snowball on you. And you saw last year, Florida got out to a rough start and they got hot, and it started with that LSU game.
Again, I got to believe if you're Coach Napier, like, oh, we're going to go to 9 conference games next year?
What?
Great, because after the last 2 years of scheduling, I can't wait to see what we get. I looked at the South Florida offense, and again, I really want to give South Florida a lot of credit. They're a really good team. Right. I know that Florida Gator fans, when you have an in-state team come in that's not named Miami or Florida State, you probably think, okay, we roll the helmets out and we get the win, and that's not true. They were very balanced offensively, Gordy. And again, if you're LSU, trying to get that run game more consistent, I mean, South Florida had a lot of success.
South Florida had a tremendous amount of success. Byron Brown is their transfer quarterback, 23 of 36, 263 yards and a touchdown. But probably more impressive, he got it done with his feet as well. He had 17 rushes for a net of 66 yards. He was fantastic, and they really had no answer for him. And, of course, Garrett Nussmeier is not the runner, right, that Brown is. And this is a good Florida defense that they did it to. So, it was both sides of the football. Whereas LSU's defense was dominant, Florida was not elite on defense a week ago. They were sloppy and inconsistent and couldn't get off the field in big moments.
27-16 was the score last year in the Swamp, and as you mentioned just moments ago, it should be very ingrained in the minds of LSU, certainly for the returning players. And I guess that's the best part, because if you go back several weeks, Coach Kelly was talking about the professional approach, mature approach, business-like approach of this team, not a whole lot of showboating, not a whole lot of look at me. And that goes for every game. But this is the type of game where pre-game, you always see some talking going about, but I think that's going to be key for LSU, because I think you're off to a 2-0 start.
That's right.
Florida is 1-1. They're coming off the quote-unquote embarrassing loss to in-state South Florida. Let them be the ones who want to show out. I think that'll be key, and that's always key, but I think it's very important in this matchup, and I like the fact that LSU's got a lot of returning players who had that feeling last year of leaving Gainesville, so just keep your head where it needs to be.
No, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And I think that is one of the good things that came out of a 23-7 win over Louisiana Tech. This isn't a 48-0 blowout where you're coasting into this. The tone's going to be different out there on the Ponderosa. They're not going to be happy with that performance they put on the field Saturday.
All right, let's go to Coach Brian Kelly with this week's press conference.
Smoothly without you, but I'd be lying. So it's good to have you back in here. You're welcome. All right, we'll start with just a recap from this past weekend. Many times you kind of get a chance to, regroup after the press conference, which, I don't want to go on a long dissertation, but they should have the post-game press conferences today. I mean, it would be so much easier on everybody. You get a chance to watch the film, and you kind of just calm down. It's like you're right in it. We were just, in a battle, and emotions are what they are. But today, I feel a lot better. We won the game. We dominated them statistically within that game. Our defense, up until late in the game, where we made some substitutions, was poised for a shutout. And anytime you can get that, you're really pleased. I think from an offensive standpoint, some individual performances. Barry Brown was outstanding. It was good to see Harlan Berry get involved and do some really good things. Xavion, multi-dimensional, running the football. 9 of 16, I think, on third down efficiency. So, a lot of really good things. So what's the overall perspective after the game is that we didn't underperform. If we underperformed, we probably put that game in reach for La Tech and maybe lose the game. But it was not an elite performance. And as I mentioned to you, that performance is everybody. You know, I have to coach better. Our coaches have to be better teachers and coaches. We've got to be much more organized in certain areas. And then our players have to reach and exceed the standard of what we expect and what they expect from themselves. And we didn't have that across the board. So, you know, as I stand here before you, we're 2-0. We learned a lot of lessons. And the lessons now become great lessons if we learn. You got to learn from them. You can't just have lessons and go, I didn't learn much. Looking back on it, there's a lot of good things to take out of this game for us moving into the SEC play and an outstanding opponent in Florida. So with that, I'll segue right into the game this weekend. And I'll start with, you know, we're in Tiger Stadium. And so we need to be Death Valley. We need to live up to our resume as the most difficult place to play in the country because it's SEC time. So you had your warm-up tailgates, you know, you got your recipes down, you got how much you need for drinking. Now, let's go get it. Let's make Tiger Stadium what it has been built on, and that is an incredibly difficult place to play. And so that's my first shout out to our fan base. We need you this weekend. And then we'll provide the standard of in terms of how we need to play. It's a really good football team we're playing in Florida, and we know that. You know, it starts with their quarterback. DJ is really arm talent off the charts. You know, he can throw the football. He's a guy that, you know, when you look at quarterbacks in this league, you know, he has elite talent. But he's got guys around him. Jaden Baugh is really difficult to defend. He's physical. He's got great instincts. He's got toughness. He's 230 pounds. And now you complement him with the freshman, Vernell Brown, who is an electric receiver and probably one of the more consistent guys on their team is, you know, Eugene Wilson at the slot. I mean, they have a nice balance of running the football and certainly the quarterback position and some skill guys on the offensive side of the ball. So I love the center Slaughter. Barber's a great tackle. So they get some really good football players. From a defensive standpoint, you know, Coach Roberts does a really good job with simulated pressures, 3 down, 4 down, giving you looks, mixing things up to make it really difficult. And you know, from a defensive perspective, you know, we saw the 3-3-5 and, you know, had some difficulties with that recognition. It'll certainly be similar in terms of what they try to do and make things difficult and keep the ball in front of them. They do a great job of not giving up big plays and keeping the points down. Really solid in special teams. Smack's got a huge leg. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Brown, you know, he's averaging 21 yards per punt return. So this is a talented football team. And, you know, look, I can't predict, you know, what happened with them versus this week. They were the better team. They didn't play to their standard. So they're going to play to their standard this week, and we know that. Playing Florida is always you know, a big game on everybody's schedule. We'll just need to worry about ourselves and play to our standard. So with that, we'll open up to questions.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
What did the MRI show for Braylon and Trades? How many games do you think they're going to miss? And what's the plan without them in the meantime?
MRIs, you know, were positive. We didn't get the, you know, the true sense that we have a high ankle sprain with Braylon. There was nothing that gave us that sense that when we looked at the MRI that, hey, this is a, you know, a tightrope procedure and he's going to be out for, you know, 4 weeks. He's going to be day to day. We'll get him out there tomorrow. We'll see how he feels. He felt better today. So I think we're going to list him as questionable, and that could change to probable as we go through the week. We'll see how he progresses. Trades has a sprain. The good news is it's a sprained MCL. And so, as you know, those are injuries that you can come back from, and rather quickly. We'll see where he is. We'll list him as questionable and work our way through the week and see where he is at the end of the week.
Hey, Coach Kelly, right here.
Yes, sir.
You win at Clemson and Louisiana Tech. You mentioned that y'all did well in the stat category. If that's a game where y'all win 42-0, 49-0, do you think getting the guys more prepared this week after playing a game they didn't meet up to their standards, do you think that now can open their eyes? Because if y'all just smoked Louisiana Tech, I'm sure everybody felt like, hey, we're 2-0, we're number 3 in America, we're great, and everybody's telling them they're great. Some people are, kind of pumping the brakes now. Do you feel like that can give you an edge this week to get the guys to refocus?
Yeah, I don't think we listen to the narratives as much as we really focus on, what are the things that we would learn. I would rather won 49-0. We would have got a chance to get a lot of other guys in the game that we could not get into the game that deserve to play. But on the other side of it, it shows you that you've got a consistent team that clearly understands, how to prepare and then how to perform at a high level. That wasn't an elite performance. So we go back to our process, and our process is, how did we prepare during the week? What are some of the things that we need to do better and double down on? And so if you ask me, I'd like to win and learn lessons. That's really the crux of this. And, we won the game, and we learned some really good lessons.
Yeah, Brian, the running game on Saturday, was it a lack of, I guess, for better words, play calling as far as a variety of different runs, which you had at Clemson, or was it more execution, or both?
I think we have to, there's some things that we can address relative to the fundamentals and teaching and technique. I think we can be technically better. It's a difficult defense to run on. I mean, it's a 3-3 with, a middle rover. It's a difficult, doesn't mean you can't, and we did. We got the ball outside. We were able to cover enough. We want to be better, and that's kind of what I'm saying to you in the same breath of we want to improve and be critical in our analysis. There are some things that we need to do better as coaches and players, and I think that's probably the run game more than anything else.
With Trades Green being out, how critical do you think?
He's not out.
Questionable, sorry.
Okay, there you go.
With Trades Green being questionable, how important do you think it will be for Chris Hilton to step up against Florida secondary?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is an important part, right? I mean, but, they play different positions. We need, Bauer Sharp is going to have to play. We hope that Trades plays. We're not sure yet. We'll let the week kind of dictate that. But we're better positioned. Donovan Green is an experienced player that can step in and give us the things that we need. And look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we all know it's not one player. Would we like him there? Yeah, we hope he's playing on Saturday. But if he's not, we'll be prepared to make adjustments.
Right. Not to suggest you should have approached it differently, but do you think all the emphasis on beating Clemson, I mean, months of it, do you think that led to something of a letdown in intensity or focus for the game last week?
And I'm honest with you, right? I'll tell you what I see. Our effort was really good. Our pregame was really good. We weren't flat, lacking emotion. You worry about that sometimes with what you just said, is that did you get too high for one and then dip down? Ours was really much more about the details. Our focus was not great from everybody. There were some that had great focus, but we need that from everybody, and our attention to detail. So our traits were a little off. And when our traits are off a little bit, I go back to looking at, did we prepare as well this week, right, in that sense? And we're going to talk about it. And the preparation needs to be elite each and every week. It was elite against Clemson. We're going to ask that question to our team. Was our preparation elite? And I think we're going to find out that for some it was, and for others, we need to do better. And that's going back to, I want to learn lessons and win at the same time. But I really like the energy we played with, the want to and the care, and not looking at La Tech and saying, well, this isn't Clemson. I didn't feel that at all. What I felt was lack of attention to detail in some areas. Look, we had a penalty. I'll give you an example. We're kicking off at the 50-yard line. Now, if you kick that thing out of bounds, it's a 30-yard penalty. They start on the 20, right? Or they tell you to back up 5, and then we kick it out of the end zone. That is a play we've gone over and over and over and over for tactical advantage, and we line drive it into the front line guy. Unacceptable. So we had things like that occur. That is attention to detail and being on top of your work. And so if I felt like we were flat and unemotional and didn't play with a desire that we need to, I'd be a lot more worried going into this game.
Coach, last year in Gainesville, they really got after Nussmeier, their defensive line and so forth. What do they have back? What challenges are there? And if I could, does last year's game play any part of motivation or preparation for this week?
Yeah, it's a different team, different players. Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. I mean, their simulated pressures are really good. They had, a couple of big guys up front that we struggled a little bit with, but that's the SEC. Like, everybody's going to have really good players, and it really comes down to your focus and execution more than what Florida. And we respect the players that they have. Last year, we didn't convert. We didn't cash in when we got into opportunities to put touchdowns on the board. We field goal, we settled for field goals. So we have to score touchdowns. That was the case this weekend too, right? I mean, we get all the way down there on a drive, we're kicking field goals. We need to convert when we get into that tough territory.
I guess just looking back at the film, just having more sense of what you saw Garrett do in that game, just what were some of your overall takeaways and just some of the conversations maybe you guys have had the last 24 hours?
He did some really good things. Look, his standard is so high. I mean, I think he's going to be in Mount Rushmore in about a month. I mean, it's crazy, the expectations. And he's still a college player that is working to get better. So there's some things that he would like to do better. And I think, he would tell you that, he learned a lot from last week. And that's great. That's all you want. At the end of the day, I want to see our guys go, I learned some things here that are going to help me be a better quarterback. And we'll ask all of our players, including Garrett, to think that way.
I got two, if I can. How did DJ do being back in the driver's seat? And then you referenced the coaching and the preparation enough that makes me wonder, are you speaking game week or in-game kind of recognition and reacting?
DJ Chester starting at center if he has to start. We're very comfortable with him. I thought he did a nice job. 3 downs hard because you got somebody on your nose, right on top of you, and you're snapping the ball in shotgun situations. That's look, to have a guy like him is invaluable, right? I mean, he didn't take a ton of snaps the last couple of weeks at center. We had him out at left tackle. He's played guard. He's so valuable, and he went in there and he did a heck of a job. When I talk about coaching's 24/7. It's the relationships you have with your players. It's being able to have conversations with them on Mondays about, how they prepared during the week. Yeah, there are some adjustments that you make. I think I've said this before. I think that's a little bit overrated. I think it's the work and the relationships you have with your players during the week that really make a big difference.
Yeah, Brian, what are some of the consistent traits this defense has that transfer from game to game that maybe your past defenses didn't have here?
Well, I think it starts at the back end of the defense, coverage ability, tackling. We've been really good tacklers. So I think that stands out right away as the ability to cover down, contested throws, tackling in the back end of the defense. Those things start to really show themselves. And then I think the front seven plays well together. It's well synced. In other words, Perk had that big sack early on. Jack's heading up the field, pulls the tackle, we wrap him underneath. They're just working well together. So I think that just having a second year in the scheme and everybody feeling comfortable with Blake's scheme up front, and then the coverage ability and tackling ability on the back end would be probably the two things that I would highlight.
Coach, you've had just 3 plays in the passing game of 20 yards or more. It's the last, ranks last in the SEC. Why hasn't the offense been able to generate more
We
explosive?
haven't played an SEC game. How do we rank last in
Fair.
the SEC?
Very fair.
We'll play Florida, and then we'll tell you whether we're last.
Perfect. But why has the
You
offense...
guys can spin anything. I thought I was the guy that was supposed to spin it. You guys are supposed to ask more pertinent questions. Go ahead.
Better question. Why hasn't the offense been able to generate more explosive plays so far before SEC play?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a little bit of both, right? You've seen what we're doing. We're a lot more creative relative to the running game and getting some explosive plays. I think Varian Brown had an explosive play in the running game. Xavion had explosive. Harlem had an explosive. I think those explosive plays maybe went to the receivers last year, and you're seeing more explosive plays in the run game. We need to score more points. And I think really the issue for me more than anything else is converting in those tough territory areas and scoring touchdowns instead of field goals. I like the balance now that we have explosive receivers that can catch it, but we also can run the ball and get some explosive. We really struggled with that last year. And so where I'll really be interested in see where this thing falls is our conversion rate in the red zone. That's really where I'm focused right now, is converting in the red zone and scoring touchdowns instead of field goals.
Now that you've played a whole game without Braylon Moore, what did you learn about his value to the offense, his value to the team, and what kind of that he allows the offense to do?
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things where we saw what he did in game one, and he played very well. He was the SEC Player of the Week. A lot of people felt that way too, and we did, certainly. We're just fortunate that we have another player that can step in and do a really good job for us. And DJ started 13 games last year. For him to come in on the second play and be mentally ready to do it. And I think that's a really big thing. Some guys mentally have a hard time not starting and not being in the game. And then when you put them in, it's hard for them to be in that performance mindset, right? They've been sitting around, and he's unique in that way. He's mature. He can step in. So I think this really says a lot more about what we know we have with Braylon Moore was on display against Clemson. And then what we saw this past weekend is that we have a number 2 who can play as a number 1. And that's a really good asset.
Over here in the middle. So Billy Napier, I know you have some experience playing against him. I'm wondering, I'm asking this in the context of, a lot of people calling for his head down there. You don't have to comment on that, but I would welcome it.
Crazy.
But,
Craziness.
But what have you learned about him as a coach, and what are your impressions
He's a really
of him?
good football coach. He knows his team. He knows what their strengths and weaknesses are. You can see it on film. He's building a culture that is fit to his eye in terms of what he wants to do. He's doing it his way. And that's awesome. I think that, look, I came in here, right, and Ed was here. He won a national championship, right? But he did it his way, right? It was his way, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way he went. They wanted to make a change. I do it my way. It takes time to put in your philosophy and the way you like to do things. I do them a lot different than Ed does. But he still won, right? They asked for a change. I came. It takes time to make that change. And it's the same thing with Billy. Billy's come in after 2 or 3 other head coaches that changed the way the other coaches did it. And now he's starting to stabilize that program. So people talk about whatever they want. It's crazy. It takes you what it takes. And he'll get that thing where he wants it. I think he's got it right now. They beat us last year. So, again, we need to worry about us, and that's what we do. I worry about what we do on a day-to-day basis and make sure we're prepared to be our best on Saturday. Was that considered a rant? Close? It was borderline rant? No, I can't do that anymore. They make memes of that. Did I? I did the fake. I did the fake. It was a fake. Or a comedy hour, if you want that.
I don't know where to go from all that. Did Harlem Berry earn more touches moving forward after how he played?
he required a conversation because, look, running the football is so much more about next level and making people miss. He did a great job. He made a couple guys miss, extended a play. We knew he was talented, right? I mean, this is much more about, catching up to the system that we run, right? Protections out of the backfield, right reads, those things. But it required a conversation that this is a guy that we've got to keep an eye on.
Speaking of conversations, we've seen 2 penalties, one in the NFL and one in college this week in personal fouls that maybe change the course of games. Do you take this moment to speak to your team about the impact that one play could have using these examples?
Well, we don't talk about specifically spitting at somebody because that's that's not even an issue that I would broach because it just, that's not the kind of guy we want you to be, right? But we do talk about emotional control. We talk about emotional stability, being in the moment, making sure that the moment's not too big for you. And if you have to resort to something like that, then you're not in control of your emotions. And if you're not in control of your emotions, you could hurt your team, you could hurt yourself, and you could find yourself in a position where you're suspended and your team loses a game. So we can only put guys on the field that can control their emotions and are stable and mature and can do the right things in the big moments. Because this is LSU. Every moment's a big moment. And so we evaluate it from that perspective. And you get an opportunity in practice to see what happens. Are you a guy that takes your helmet off and wants to get into a fight right away? Or can you go compete hard every single play and come back to the next play and not let something like that get you out of your emotional zone? Good? All right, thank you.
Head coach Brian Kelly this week on the Brian Kelly press conference. Again, getting his team ready for the Florida Gators coming up this Saturday. Kickoff again scheduled right around 6:44 Central Time. Give you a little extra time there for another great tailgating Saturday here on campus. We'll take our final break. We'll come back, some news and notes, and then send you on your way right here on the Brian Kelly press conference.
All right, all right. It's a beautiful day for football here at the stadium, and we're just about ready for kickoff. Score 0-0. And suddenly, I'm in the mood for a Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar. Now that's a winning combo. Yeah, crisp, refreshing. That hits the spot. When it comes to great taste, Coke Zero Sugar's always on the scoreboard. Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar.
There was a time when a person's word was
At Town Square Pizza, we take pride in serving Baton Rouge with fresh, delicious, piping hot, personalized pizza with unmatched speed. Whether you're a downtown worker, a family looking for convenience and value, or an out-of-towner staying at one of the nearby hotels, Town Square Pizza is the spot for you. Try a specialty pizza like the Spanish Town Supreme or custom build your own. Family packs, kids' meals, and salads are available as well. It's hip to be square at Town Square Pizza, downtown facing. What else? Town Square.
I'm Chris Jackman. Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Bet on gridiron action and earn perks in every game like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio20X and place your first bet of $1 or more for a chance to double your winnings on your next 20 bets. Open to new users in Louisiana who are 21 or older. Licensed through Horseshoe Bossier City and Caesars New Orleans. Match bet of $25 for boosted winnings. Max additional winnings $2,500 per bet. Profit boost tokens expire 14 days after receipt. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
LSU Tiger fans are gearing up with real Tigers apparel and merchandise from the official online store at lsushop.net. Get jerseys, sideline gear, polos, t-shirts, hats, official team merchandise from Nike, accessories, and much more. Over 3,600 products, all shipped right to your door. Head to the place real Tiger fans go for the selection only real Tiger fans get at lsushop.net. That's a wrap on this week's Brian Kelly press conference, presented by the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. For last-minute news and notes, once again, here is Chris Blair.
LSU hosting Florida, the SEC opener coming up this Saturday on a Saturday night in Death Valley. 6:44 will be the kickoff time. Looking forward to another great weekend here on LSU's campus. Well, from Coach Brian Kelly today, I think it was pretty clear there were some positives to build on, but certainly more attention to detail and a little better focus, and that certainly will be needed not only this week, but for the rest of the year. Good news, Braylon Moore and Trey'Dez Green. The injury update much better than maybe we all thought at the end of the game on Saturday night, so they'll keep an eye on both Braylon and Trey'Dez this week, and we'll wait and see on Saturday. As we say in our business, stay tuned to see whether or not and how soon they get back on the field. Well, coming up this Thursday, of course, we'll have the Brian Kelly Show. After pretty much a full week of practice, we'll get the latest from the head coach live from TJ Ribs, 7 o'clock on Thursday. Hope to see you there. If you can't make it, you can tune in all around the state on our great network of stations and, of course, streaming for free online on the LSU Sports mobile app and at lsusports.net. Coming up on Saturday, 4:30 from the Bud Light Fan Zone, Hunt Palmer, Marlon Favorite, Brandon Taylor. They'll get our broadcast day started at 4:30 with LSU Game Day. And then Jacob Hester and Gordy Rush will join me inside legendary Tiger Stadium for kickoff, LSU and Florida, to start SEC play at 6:44. And quickly before I go, LSU, we are 34-31. Florida with a 34-31 advantage, technically, even though on the field it's 34-34-3. So I stand corrected from earlier. There were some wins that were vacated. So in the record book officially, it's 34-31-3 all time. Florida with a slight edge, and LSU tries to get a little closer this coming Saturday night. So thanks to Gordy Rush, as always, for stopping.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Walk-Ons in Brusly, where we got the windows open.
It's open air, baby.
It's
Yes,
fantastic.
Yes, it's good.
Enjoying this one. So Brian Kelly, I had to use one word for that press conference. I would say Coach Kelly is loose. I mean, he walked in like
when has he not been?
You're right. This year,
No. When? I mean, come on, man. This guy.
Maybe at the beginning when he got here, but just today, he walks in and he's talking like a guy who. I play a lot of cards in my life. Okay, he acts like a guy that knows he's got a good hand. Okay, and. We talked about the contract and all that stuff. I agree with all that stuff.
To that point, okay.
He's just, hey, he's telling jokes. He's as opposed to Saturday. When was he not lose? After the game, Saturday night.
We have both done tons of post game, and that is the beauty and also the aggravation of its immediate emotional reaction. You capture the emotion, and people are just. One positive or negative, more extreme, and not as guarded. But that's that's all that was. That's all. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Right. You wake up the next day. I went back and looked at it. It's not that bad. There were some positive things, but right after the game, look. This is why I've had a job the last 25 years on Eagle, okay? When everybody comes out of the stadium and things went like they did the other night, pissed off. I mean, just forget that they won, forget that the defense was great, pissed off. Okay. You come back the next day, you look at it again. Sometimes you rationalize, sometimes not, and sometimes you go, you know what? I might have overreacted. That's what he opened with today, He said, maybe we shouldn't do these things right after the game. Maybe we should do them on Monday, okay? Well, if he doesn't do a post-game press conference, I'm not doing a post-game show, okay? That's my deal. But I understood what he meant. I understood exactly what he meant. It's just what you're saying, Jimmy. The emotions of it can fade after 24, 48 hours, and you come back and go, you know what? Everything's going to be all right now.
He's starting to acclimate to SEC country. And because it's a beauty and the also just screwed up. Man, whether it's Twitter, whether it's a post-game, a call-in show, or around town. I mean, man, when you're that emotionally invested, You're really not rationalizing a whole lot. SEC fans are all over the place, but that's the beauty. But they care so damn much, they can't see straight half the time.
You can't turn it on and off. You know, you're emotionally invested. So, loose is what he
But
came
do you
in
agree
today.
with him that it wasn't as bad?
It was all on one side of the ball. The defensive intensity, the defensive execution was fine. Okay, not better than fine, exceptional.
He basically said we pulled our starters, and that's when they got on the board.
Yeah, it was an exceptional performance, regardless of the opponent on the defensive side, and the special teams were fine. Offensively, you lost. I'm sorry, next man up, and he's got experience. I'm sorry. The Moore is better than Chester. Okay, and when he goes out, you feel it. Now, is that an excuse that everything goes off? No, but you got to factor that in. You got to factor in, for whatever reason, your quarterback was off his game Saturday. His accuracy was not what it usually is, so you got to play that in. And you lost Greenlay, but believe me, the inconsistency had been established way before Trey'Dez Green went out of the game. So you go back and try to fix some of that stuff. I maintain that a lot of the plays that didn't work, outside of Nussmeier's incompletions where he was just off, is mostly about missed assignments and guys that get beat up front. The right tackle, Weston Davis, got beat a number of times. You could see it before we even go do film study. He had a bad game. There are times on the other side where they're missing the combo blocks. The best two offensive linemen so far this year, again, guys who were coached somewhere else, Moore and Thompson, have been the best two. Those other guys are still ramping up. They're puppies. They haven't played. You know, Adams, we like Adams. He's a real talent. He started 5 games. Not even 5 games. I think it's 3 games. Davis has started now 2 games. Mubenga started 7 games. Those other 2 guys have started for 2 years. It's a big difference. And I think that's, again, where most of their problems in the run game lie, is up front. Those guys are going to, you hope, they're going to give it. They're talented guys. They're highly recruited. They have done the job at times.
So the short of your answer is on one side of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Max?
I'm somewhere in between his statements, between Saturday and Monday. Look, to me, I wanted to see the backup quarterbacks. I wanted to see Van Buren. They never came out. Against La Tech, you should be seeing the backup quarterback at some point, and you didn't. Now, he said that there was never in doubt. The game was never in doubt. Well, if it wasn't in doubt, then you would have probably had the backups in. And I would also point out that La Tech punted 3 times in opposing territory. They didn't attempt an onside kick.
Oh, 3 times. I thought you said inside of 20.
In opposing territory.
Max, you got to get used to it, dude.
I'm just saying, La Tech was allowing that game to not be within reach a little bit in terms of their decision making. I mean, not even attempting an onside kick with 4 minutes to go, down 2 possessions. Like,
it's a
that's
to
why.
win.
Okay, but
they're taking their check. They've got 10 more games on their schedule, or do you want to you don't want to come out of this game having 6 or 7 guys banged up because you're an inferior roster.
Point blank, I wanted to see the backup quarterback.
I understand,
and you didn't. So
and
that is a bit of.
If you're not going to get the backup quarterback against Louisiana Tech, we're going to go get him in. No, that's fair, because anybody can go down. I mean, it is football, and so no, and that used to be the deal. I mean, you got to get your back up in there, get some reps in case, and then for next year too, and also evaluate what you have. So, no, but he also, and I'm kind of glad. I'm sorry, I'm kind of glad Tiger Stadium isn't Tiger Death Valley for Louisiana Tech. I'm glad, because I want real games scheduled. And I'm glad there's patches of empty seats in Happy Valley on Saturday against FIU, right in the middle of this juggernaut non-conference schedule of Nevada, FIU, and Villanova. Jay Wright bringing his best 5 over there. I mean, you know, it's just, and he's had it takes an opponent at night. I mean, Max, you said that. Yeah, great feeling, great vibe. Tailgating should be. First win, great win. Best win in college football. Got a chance. But once you get in there and it's gone, I mean, when you schedule these games, you're going to see crap that aggravates you. You're not going to get Tiger Stadium on its best, and you get what you get. Get in, get out, get in that check. But he's trying to coach. It's still Florida, still at night. Fans know you lost to them last time. Okay, they'll be ready to go on Saturday night. But I mean, he's even noticing it isn't on all the time.
Yeah, and we've known that for a year, and it's not the only stadium. I mean, you think Texas was on for San Jose State?
When has he had to plead to the fans that we need you? I mean, this ain't Will Wade trying to stroke up the basketball days.
He did it. He didn't need to. They'll be there. For Florida, they'll be there.
But when has he done it before?
I'm sure he said something like that before the game. Before, I don't really remember, but they'll be there.
Just
for
can't
Florida.
remember it.
But yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
he's done it, but you just can't remember it, huh? Okay.
When Alabama came here in 22, he said it. Hey,
you don't have to
need
tell
you.
him. You don't have
come
to.
on, they're SEC games. They'll be there for those, especially name SEC teams. I mean, they go for Alabama and Florida and Auburn and Georgia. They'll be there for those games. The injury report. All right, so on Braylon Moore, he said it's a high ankle sprain. He's calling him day to day. He's calling him questionable.
When is high ankle sprain day to day?
Well,
they linger forever.
That's what I'm getting to. He did rule out the tightrope surgery, though. So if they're not considering that, maybe it's not quite as bad. I would be shocked if he plays this week. If it's a true high ankle sprain, that's multiple weeks. You got 3 games left, and then you got a bye week. I don't know if he's going to be out that long, but that was kind of my first thought. Kelly seems to be a lot more optimistic than that. I hope he's right. For Trey-Dez Green, it's a sprained MCL, which is what I think you said in the first thing. They're calling him questionable. They'll know more at the end of the week. I'd be shocked if he played also. That's just me. Kelly sounds more optimistic. Hopefully he's right, but it does bring up an interesting point with Trey-Dez Green being out.
No, he's right. The MRIs had to reveal it's MCL sprain.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you said he's right.
About him playing
healthy.
that he's
healthy.
That he's going to play sooner rather than later. I think for this week it's kind of optimistic, but I'm not there, and Kelly is. It does bring up the interesting part about Donovan Green, who came in the transfer portal, known as a blocking tight end. This kid was from Texas at Texas A&M, primarily a blocking tight end. He's 6'4", he's 250 pounds. He's not the receiving threat, obviously, that Sharp and Trey-Dez Green are, but he's a much more physical blocker, and I wonder if that might not provide a little spark to the running game. You know, some of these combo blocks on the edge with the tackles, frankly, they could use a little more physicality out there. So we're going to get a chance to see. He's a kid that, he's behind the other two, so he's not going to get a chance to play as much if they're healthy. If Trey-Dez Green is out, you're going to see more Donovan Green. Will that help the run game? I don't know. Maybe. What else do we have in here? They said they had to have a conversation about Harlem Berry, so I would consider that positive that he is making that he's making progress. Ramp him up a little bit more. Hopefully, that'll be the case. And after that, it was mostly about fundamentals and focus, and all those things that we talk about when you don't play as well as you want to play. So a loose, excited coach with an SEC opponent coming in here a little bit wounded this weekend. That's kind of where we are. Anything else you heard, Jimmy, that you wanted to?
Yeah, no. It's just, he's candid, man. He's relaxed. He's funny, man. He's funny. I mean, I don't know, Charlie, if you think he's got a loaded hand, anything like that. I mean, that's usually, how many times have you heard, there's a reason, you get to, I got to look at the film. Well, we got to look at the film, and I'll be able to give you a better answer. And I mean, you're managing so much on the sidelines, he can't evaluate so much at a high, with the perspective. I mean, you got an idea who's competing and not, but I don't. He said before the season he thought they were good.
Yeah.
Okay, and we think they were good. I mean, by whose account is this not his best roster here? No, I mean everybody's account.
Nobody doesn't
so,
think that it's not.
It's the beauty of college football too, man. There's never a perfect roster. There's never a perfect game.
No.
Not every position scheduled. But how close can you get to it? How buttoned up can you get? And his teams, no matter where he's been, that's not been the issue. He's at least got, some weapons to deal with and compete in this league, which he really didn't.
this is my read, that he knows he's got a good team. He knows he's got a good hand. He doesn't have an unbeatable team. He doesn't have an unbeatable hand. And somewhere, between the end of last season and the start of this one, he's just like, you know what? I'm a lot closer to the end of my career than the beginning, and I've got a shot to go win this thing. I'm going to have some fun along the way. I'm going to be me. If I piss some people off in the meantime, I don't care. I'm not coaching for my job. I'm coaching for a championship. So I'm going to go do this my way. I'm going to have fun doing it. I'm going to give it my best shot. If we get it, great. I'll put the ring on my finger and I'll ride off into the sunset whenever I decide to hang up my whistle. And if not, it's still been a damn good run. And at least I died with my boots on. I went in there and I did it the way I wanted to do it. That's what I see. I don't know.
I think the guy's. You thought he was like this at Notre Dame?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think
because he was coaching for his job at times there, and he didn't have this contract in front of him, and it was,
There aren't many who are. They have this much job security,
right?
In college football at this stage of his career,
And was he ever this close of a favorite to winning a national championship? I mean, even the year they made it to the finals. I guess you'd have to give them in a one-game setting.
No, they had no shot.
They were not going to win that game.
And if it wasn't Alabama, it was going to be somebody else, like it went at LSU that year.
If LSU had beaten Alabama, that was the year.
2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the year T.J. Yeldon.
Yeah, okay, but
pass,
LSU would have beat them close to as bad as that.
If Georgia would have gotten into the game, if Georgia beat Alabama in the SEC championship.
Oh, that was the one that would have stopped inside the 10?
It was one of them. I
Murray?
forget which one. But Georgia would have beaten them. Georgia would have beaten them, too. I don't remember exactly. Georgia and Alabama played enough times. I don't remember which one that was. But, yeah, they would have won that game. Now, granted, here he's got to win 4 playoff games. But
no, this team has more of a shot than a Notre Dame team.
They do.
Now, I mean, well, they're going to get to the finals. Odds are against that. I mean, just saying, but they have a chance to win it, and that Notre Dame team.
You have enough to operate with. We're brought to you by the Morris Insurance Group. Big boy toys, some of those tough to insure items. Your duck camps, your fishing camps, things that are in coastal areas. You get flood insurance through the Morris Insurance Group. Your boats, your trailers, your RVs. A lot of these items, your boats, boat insurance. If you got a difficult time getting good quotes on them, difficult time getting prices that you like, check out my man Buzzy Hydell and the Morris Insurance Group. Also for your auto, your homeowners, and your commercial insurance. You can get a quote at morris-ig.com, or you can give them a call at 201-0007, 225-201-0007. Ask for Buzzy and see what he's got to say. Buzzy Hydell and the Morris Insurance
There you
Group.
go. Yes, glad to have them aboard. It was at the 5-yard line where the Georgia drive ended on the little pass to the flat. It was Aaron Murray, 32-28.
Yeah, they played Alabama that close. They would have beaten Notre Dame.
Georgia. Florida was 7-1 that year. They'd have beaten.
That was an Urban Meyer team. Yeah, they probably would have
that's
as well.
At least 4 teams that would have waxed.
And LSU had Alabama beat. Save one play in Tiger Stadium. So.
That was one where it was popping.
I don't know if LSU would have beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. Would have probably been what and what. But either one of those teams would have beaten Notre Dame, in my opinion. We'll take our final time out, come back and wrap things up here. We are at Walk-Ons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customer.
On me? Is rolling.
This Charles Hanniger join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch at Mike Anderson Seafood. Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas. Former LSU Tiger Greg Bowser, and we do first class, second class, no class. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Tuesday from Mike Anderson's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday ticket offer for new subscribers only, and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Congratulations are in order for one of my favorite places to eat, Snow's Seafood and Steaks, celebrating its 50th anniversary. That's right, since 1971, Snow's has been serving a wide assortment of menu items to please everyone. Steaks, seafood, gumbo, homemade soups, salads, specialty cocktails, great wine selection, and oh yes, the best white chocolate bread pudding that you'll find anywhere. It's the total dining experience. Happy 50th anniversary to my friends at Snow's Seafood and Steak, Airline Highway at Highway 74 in Gonzales. By now you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crown Town Room at Doe's Eat Place. The Crown Town Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze. For the perfect blend of sweet and spicy, you can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Doe's Eat Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111, and OCBrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance and Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111, and OCBrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance and Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. The Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Doe's Eat Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941. Just outside the north gates of LSU. Fin Bomb, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Let me make a correction on something that I said. This is my mistake. I'm listening to the press conference over here, and I just didn't hear it correctly. Kelly said about Braylon Moore, we didn't get the true sense that it is a true high ankle sprain. What I heard was high ankle sprain, but we don't need the tightrope procedure that would keep him out for 4 weeks. So he said, let me get this exactly right. We didn't get the true sense that we have a high ankle sprain with Braylon. He's going to be out, and that he would have to have the tightrope procedure and be out for 4 weeks. He's going to be day to day. So the injury is not a true high ankle sprain, and then there's a big difference. So that's my mistake.
Okay,
I apologize. It's a big difference between a turned ankle and a true high ankle sprain, which will keep you out a month, whether you have the tightrope surgery or not. So that's a big deal. My mistake. I didn't hear it properly. I want to make that correction.
Yeah, Clay, it's your first mistake.
I throw something at him. Yeah.
Good job, Charlie.
Yeah, just make sure it's right. Hey, you want to make it up to me for your 1-3 yesterday? Tell me who's going to win the game tonight.
Bears. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm in position to win. Got leads left and right. Couldn't finish them all. So,
yeah, there was a lot of that going around.
Yeah, it was good day for football Friday. Not so much for football Sunday. So, but we did it. It was fun, but it was it was just some very, very close 50-50 type of covers yesterday. I mean,
Steelers and Jets.
Steelers and Jets fell under the number. Jets were winning a big part of that game. So catching 3. The crazy thing is the noon and 3 games were 1-11 under. If you could pick one, if you're survivor, which one's not going to score the most points? It'd have been Jets Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Justin Fields quarterbacking the Jets and Aaron Rodgers.
Where did Daniel Jones come from? What Miami?
Boy, I tell you what, Miami looks so
okay,
bad
it's on the
yesterday.
road, but is it January in a blizzard? What's up with them? Tua?
They were bad on both sides. The
I-
defense was awful. Tua was awful.
That was unreal. How bad that worst performance as a team. I mean,
under that
had
coach, yeah.
Well, under any coach. I mean, what we saw this weekend in the NFL.
Oh, of all
that
the
was
teams?
they were
Yeah, they
way
were-
worse than the Saints.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
way worse than the Saints.
Saints had a chance to.
Tua was
win
worse
the
than
game.
Rattler.
I thought Tua was the worst quarterback in the league yesterday. Bo Nix was close.
Oh, I thought
Bo Nix was close.
I'd say Bo Nix because they had a running game. They have a defense. They're going again. I mean, there's just a lot of pieces. He's got a good coach. What's it? Minus yesterday.
What was he thinking throwing that lob up on fourth?
So
down?
you're up 8.
Yeah.
You're up 8. 4th and what was it? 3 or 4?
I thought 5 maybe.
4th
and 5.
So you got about a 55-yard field
4th
goal.
and 7.
4th and 7.
I remember it.
54, 55-yard field goal. You give them the ball. I mean, it's a minute to go. So is the rookie quarterback who's not doing a whole lot. All right,
No.
is he going to go 90 yards for
I should leave that up to my defense.
score
That's a good
and a
Denver
2-point
defense.
conversion?
Yeah.
Or so I don't know about it's here's a great example. Your analytics and your decision in managing the game is completely different because of those game flows. The Denver Titans game should not be on the same analytics chart as Baltimore Buffalo.
No.
Not in any world.
I
Not in any world.
agree.
And we remind everybody over here at Walkons and Brusly, man, we got the NFL Sunday ticket. We're equipped to watch all the games. Man, they can open up the garage doors and enjoy the great weather this time of the year. So tell them you heard it right here, 104.5 ESPN.
Brusly
Baton
home
Rouge.
opener Friday night. 1-0 after a rivalry
Yeah.
win. Hurricane
Yeah,
Classic.
Panthers.
42-6.
Cats.
Tomorrow we're at Mike Anderson's from Max and Jimmy. Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Henniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
This season, luxury